Hello, everyone, and welcome to the EsportsU Campus Cup featuring Fortnite game. And we are back for day number 2, the West region. So yesterday, we had an amazing game. We had the East region, just 6 heats of just banger Fortnite competitive collegiate esports. It was so much fun to watch. We had the leaderboards. All those VODs are up right now on YouTube as well as Twitch. Make sure to check that out. But today, we have the West region. And the West region is going to be the second series here in the EsportsU Campus Cup featuring Fortnite, and I am so excited for it. Like always, I am your host, Paulie Hype, and we'll be joined by Zephyr Cass as well as Bass from the past. Good old Oliver Bass, your casters here for the day. So again, this is sponsored by New Street. Always great. Collect wisely here with New Street. Love that company. Thank you so much for supporting us here. And today we have the West region. So without further ado, you guys have heard enough from me. Let's throw it over to Zephyr and Bass from the past, Oliver Bass, for some EsportsU Campus Cup West region action. Over to you guys.
What's up, Fortnite fam? Welcome to the event here on the EsportsU channel. We have got the Campus Cup West Coast this time. And Zeph, it is you and I to take us through all the action. I'm excited to be here today. How are you doing today, my friend?
It has been a long week, Oliver, but I'm feeling energized, repaired, and more than that, recovered, especially after our trip together here last weekend. And I'm surprised that it's already only taken, I think, less than 7 days for us to find our way back to Fortnite.
It's been not very long, but you know what? That's good. It means more Fortnite action. I'm never one to complain about that. It means that we get to see even more of these up-and-coming talents throughout North America, this time specifically on the West Coast. We had East yesterday. It was a good event. It was a fantastic event, but it's going to be a little bit different here today on West. Some familiar faces, returning faces, and some new faces here as well. One of the big ones I feel like you and I do have to sort of open up here today is the fact that we have got Rich Homie Quinn playing here in this event. Probably one of the only T1 pros that's playing throughout this thing, so coming into this one, he has got to be a heavy favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we got the chance to actually see Rich Homie Quinn perform at DreamHack Dallas, and albeit it wasn't the best showing coming into finals there, it was still something that was rivaled that we had to worry about. So definitely, I believe, between the two of us and some of the other competition as they've begun to speak around here, the one, I would say, squad to look out for.
I would say it's one of the squads to look out for, though. That's the big thing here, is that we do have some players returning from yesterday that I think are kind of looking for a little bit of revenge, if you will. The big one for me, Trey509, formerly of Team Mizu, no longer on that squad, but he is still making waves throughout the scene. And although he did not perform that well on East Coast, well, he's a West Coast player. He lives in the West Coast, meaning his ping here today is going to be a heck of a lot better, and it should give him a huge advantage going into this one, which honestly is everything that I'm hoping for. I want to see players playing at their peak, playing with the best that they can with their duo, and I think we're going to get exactly that. Yesterday may have been, let's call it a warm-up day, if you will, but now we get to crown the best of the West, and I am excited to get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. A few, new competitive strides making their ways in here. It's been a moment for some of these players. Some other names that I'm particularly looking out for. Once again, we get to see Fluger make their introduction back here from Arlington and had the great opportunity. Of course, DreamHack Dallas finished 5th place, one of the highest performing here in terms of the players that you'll be seeing today. So definitely someone to watch out for, albeit not in the kind of West home ground as you've brought up.
I mean, yes, but also one thing that he is a little bit more used to, if you will, than some of these other players is not great ping. That's a big thing, is that if you are going to compete from, let's call it halfway across the country, then you're going to have to get a little bit used to that not so great ping. Something I feel like that's what we were also talking to a lot of these players in Texas before. They were like, man, this ping's so weird. And then you talk to the guys who live in Texas and they go, what do you mean? It's supposed to be different than this? And they just sort of, they roll with the punches, if you will. It's the best way to do it, and I think that is exactly why I give a lot of credit to the teams that are coming into this one from varying places across the United States. I still do feel like there will be a little bit of advantage to some of the players who are used to playing on West Coast servers. Again, looking back at Trey, but I don't really know. From yesterday's results, seeing Broken and Bach come out on top, this really is anybody's game to take home.
Right. I mean, that's the case with Battle Royales across the board here. Given that you have such a prowess doesn't confirm that you'll be the winner, albeit at any time. So definitely still leaves the competition a bit of a mystery to be said. I will say, correct me if I'm wrong, all these players are working with the new additions that have come through
Mhm.
going into our chapter here. And that's also something that makes its impact. And granted, trust me, not the most major of changes. Obviously, you have some weapon switch-ups. You got the double shot, drums no longer available, don't have the pads. Now it's a more rift organized meta, which definitely changes up the pacing of how players tend to take those end games sometimes, or the options they choose and how they route themselves, which can definitely kind of throw some eggs into the mix.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing here is that it is going to be a little bit of a switch up. If for those who are unaware, we just started a new Fortnite season, both competitively and in game, which makes it so that we're not going to see the same sort of metas as the last season. Last season, very heavily an SMG meta. Almost everybody was using the SMG and occasionally finishing off players with the shotgun. Instead, here today, it's a little bit of an in between. So I'm excited to see what we do see out of these players here. I do feel like some of those strategies that were employed last season are going to be completely switched up, and I get it. It's choking you up as well, Zephyr. I get it. It's such an incredible game that we're about to see.
It makes me so upset, almost brings a tear to my eye, and totally not a little bit of hay fever here. But as y'all can see, we're making our way into our first of 6 games here before our West Campus Cup. And we did not confirm that a second ago. Of course, these are only going to be 6 games for these duos to prove themselves.
They only have got 6, the usual format here. And for those unaware, this is also going to be the usual point system as well. First place, 25 points. Second place is going to take 22. Third, 20. And then from there on out, kind of just drops 1 point at a time. Fourth for 18th. Fifth, 17. 6, 16. I think you guys can get the idea from there on out. The only other thing you really need to know is the fact that a single elimination will get you a single point, and apparently Jack would like to get a point already on the board. Early down in an early elimination will put him on the board.
Okay, all right. Jack's just trying to provide some examples for us here on the desk. They want to make you look good, Oliver, all right? There you go, 1 point on the board. You can see his teammate has made their escape far and fray away here across the building. This is going to give them some time to potentially find the opportunity to get looted up. But hey, that's the problem with early drops. It is a 50-50 at times.
It really is. I would say that we're going to see a decent amount of battles here on these drops, but for the most part, I think teams are going to try to stay at least a little bit timid in comparison, especially when it's game number 1. You don't want to overexpose yourself. You don't want to overdo it, and for game number 1, just kind of want to set the tone. Get yourself the best ability possible to really run it for the long haul. And for a team like this, and Jack in hyper awareness, otherwise known as War, is actually the surprising thing, is that I do think that they're going to be looking for the long haul. War is actually a caster in the Fortnite scene, surprisingly enough, and he's a good player at that. But speaking of good players, we have got to focus on the 2 front runners from yesterday. Bach and Broken took home first place on our East Coast tournament by almost a 20-point margin. So this team's about to be a real threat here today.
Woo! Already right off the bat playing hard towards the eastern end, taking their time. Of course, want to put themselves in a good source of loot here before they start to aggress any of the other teams. And something that I'm definitely interested to watch, especially as we kind of develop today's identity for Bach and Broken, is how they begin to approach, especially once we start straying towards that mid game where edge becomes a lot more prevalent. And that's where you see a lot of squads begin to pick up the kills that net them their kind of advantage of points.
Yeah, that's the big thing, is that you do kind of have to play this very strategically, especially in not a full lobby. Typical Fortnite games are about 100 players. We're playing with 60 here today, meaning that you do have a little bit more room to breathe. But at the same time, you really do have to try and focus on the things that you have at hand. And by that, I mean the extra space you're being given, the ability to move around the map with a little bit more freeness. And, well, speaking of free moving around the map here, on the left side, we do have to focus on this team as well. Janman, another one of the players that has done well in competitions before. But here today, this is going to be a very different ball game. For a lot of these players, this is one of their first competitions, I would say, on West Coast servers. So they're going to really have to try and show us something special.
For now, it seems like they're taking their time. Not for Janman, though. Straight through, driving in a bit of the resource-heavy burden that is the early game that nullifies any assaults that we would typically see is going to be really, well, breaking the pace of what we would usually assume is some action for us on the desk. But that's okay. Just give it a little while longer. Granted, Storm's not going to be making anyone leave Rave Cave anytime soon.
I don't think so. And Rave Cave, probably one of our most hotly contested points in this entire event for, well, I would say the entirety of our 6 games. Usually when you look at Rave Cave, or at least before this season, it was already a hotly contested point, but now that there's a little bit more loot inside there in a varying different ways, it really has become such a hotly contested POI. For Jammin right now, though, it doesn't really look like anybody's contesting him. Free reign as he just kind of goes around, loots up whatever he wants. But as you can see in the bottom right, there are other teams lurking around this POI.
But as I've discussed many times over, especially with BRs as a whole, is you have that gentleman's agreement, right? It's the early game. You know you're just trying to set yourself up. Moments like these could be potentially overbearing at this point, and you don't want to put yourself in a position where you become that squad that gets third-partied as you've already begun taking a fight because you're just being a little bit too aggressive. Granted, it's also quite a difficult... Oh... That's not difficult to see there. They catch Sap out on the rotation. That could be potentially something that garners maybe a move or what looks to be a rotation out.
Come on, I want to see these early fights.
Man.
I know no one wants to. I understand why no one wants to, but at the same time, come on, give us that battle. Give us that little bit of back and forth, and I don't think it's going to happen. Looks like Law and Janman are going to dip on out of here, take the car, and leave this POI altogether. Probably not the worst idea. They've got good loot on them. They've got a lot of room to play with, and if they don't have to get into these early fights, there isn't much need to do it at all.
Law taking this all the way up here. Our new deposit on the top of the Rave Cave. Granted, hasn't really spotted anything. Curious if they'll be making their way down into the depths below where the party awaits.
Come on, please. I want to see it. I want to see the fight here. Then you get a gold AR. You should probably be taking it. He's not going to pick it up. Okay. All right. You know what? Fine. Each their own.
That is interesting. Granted, okay, it is the new Hammer Assault Rifle, right? And if you do have a predisposition towards...
What? Am I getting this right? Did he just pick up the purple one instead of the gold?
Why?
Oh no! I'm so confused. Wait, what just happened? We have to be missing something. We have to be missing something.
That has to be crazy. Like, my eyes must deceive me, Bass, because there's no reason to walk past the legendary, drop down towards the purple, and decide, no, that one's a little bit better, don't worry.
You know what? I'm going to let them play it out. And if we tune back into this team later and all of a sudden he hasn't been able to gun down another player because he just misses, like, let's call it
3 or 4
damage.
shots.
Yeah, exactly. If he's off by like just a handful of damage, I'm blaming it on his choice of weapon here. But for right now, let's focus on the two teams that we have at hand here. Looks like Jonathan Plays might be getting involved in the action as John on the other side is going to have to back away a little bit here. Fight for the cave, probably not the best idea this early on, but at the same time, hey, listen, I am not going to discourage anybody who decides to fight.
Fluger making their way down here. I believe this means they're officially pinched. You've got John and Fluger on both sides. John as is Jonathan, teammate here. Fluger makes their way in to start this one off. Finds great shots found there onto John. Will pull back, but does take at least a punch in return. He's going to find at least one remaining member. Colo's going to have to look for escape, but that's a full, complete elimination there.
Look at that. Look who has the gold AR, and apparently it's not going to help them at all. Jonathan and Fluger are going to pick up their first squad wipe here, and honestly, not necessarily too surprising. Again, Jonathan and Fluger, 2 of our top players here today, both of them Texas natives, meaning they're going to be used to the little bit of ping differential that some of these other players are not going to be as familiar with. However, that being said, there's still a lot of other players in here. Gingy, another one of those players that we've seen in collegiate competitions before. But here today, they've got a lot to prove.
Absolutely pulling back right now. They are a bit in a poor position as Milk Shiesty continues to aggress forward here, laying this down. Ed's teammate's gonna get some nice shots though from the side that prevents them from going full force into Gingy. You know who from behind is actually brought down by Sandstorm Snake.
Oh boy, this could get a little bit hectic. All of a sudden, the third party getting involved. Parzik just trying to stay alive, and Gingy, they will not. So all of a sudden, we get ourselves into a little bit of a battle here for this part of the map. I think it's going to settle ourselves for at least a little while. Shiesty and Parzik walking away with their first eliminations of the match.
Shiesty and Parzik cleaning that one up with a bit of help from friends from afar there, but it looks like they might have been able to clean up in full. Granted, you take a look at the mini-map, you already notice Storm's edge there. You've got a few squads who will be making their way in. Granted, this is a plethora of time for Parsec and Milkshake to find themselves in potentially either a more defensible position or get themselves healed back up. But Kona and Trey, this is another squad we were talking about even prior to we starting the broadcast.
And here's the crazy thing is that last time we saw Trey playing, it was with someone named Kev. Now that he gets onto the West Coast, this is actually his usual duo in Kona. Previously, like I said, both of these guys were signed to the same team on Mizu. Now you can see Kona, he's gone to CLG, and Trey, he's gone to 2AM, two very notable orgs within the Fortnite scene. So I'm not gonna lie, now that I know Kona's playing with Trey, I don't know if I'm necessarily gonna agree with what were our front runners before in Rich Homie Quinn. Quinn's a great player, but I've seen Trey and Kona do some damage together. This is a team to watch out for.
Well, at the end of the day, they're both still alive for now, so we can't be sure. Trey, I love this extended forward. Spots out that large rotation there from Sam, or Iroh and Noble Gases. Might be looking for this one. You do have a bit of the slow rotation coming through from Kona, so might be finding their way forward here. Just a moment. There we go.
Oh boy, here comes the drop down, and Trey has the high ground. Not necessarily too surprising, and unfortunately for Noble and for SMG, they're just gonna have to try and take this one. Iroh in a bit of a precarious position. They're just surrounded by boxes at this point. They've allowed so much time for Trey to build that you can just pick and choose when they come in, but ooh, that's gonna prevent them for at least now. Armored wall gonna go down, making this difficult. They're still gonna get on through. Keep on pushing, looking for the first shot. Shotguns going flying either way. No one able to hit any damage thus far, but Zeph, it feels like they're just delaying the inevitable. Iroh and Noble, they have got to try and find a way out of this.
Constantly a few smacks of break and a shot to follow there. They continue to drop further and further down. They relay themselves to the first floor here, the last of potential defensible area, as both of them continue to break wall after wall here.
Oh, more shots. No one able to get anything.
One is down low.
Trying everything. At this point, Zeph, I don't really know what's going to break here. If Trey and Kona want to make a move, they've got to try and get into this box. They keep on taking shots from distance, but it's not working out, especially considering they only have ARs, no SMGs to spray down the walls. I think Noble's going to get a little bit bold, though. They look like they want to move out of their own box. Not quite able to find that damage, but you can see they're prepping up for what's about to come. Heal on up, and now the fight will really begin.
Only for now. There we go. Trey finally on even footing here between Noble and Iroh, waiting for Kona to also drop down after the potential kill. Back to Trey's taking shots in return. The minute they make their breakthrough, very quickly the walls come out, but they can see that Trey is alone. They turned that one on Kona, and now back around. It's a 2v1 situation. Trey, they got to get out of there.
Oh, they might have been a little bit over-eager. They were so tempted by the two players in the box that they charged in without any regard to their teammate. As a result, Kona completely eliminated from this lobby. Trey can still get them back up. First, they need to survive this fight. More shots on. Iroh going to take a decent amount of damage. Trey needs to finish off one of these players. If he can get this to a 1v1, there's absolutely a chance he can pick Kona back up and continue on his merry way.
And we know for a fact that Trey's definitely looking a lot healthier than both Iroh and Gases. Gases having to expend drop the shield potion down here. They have no time to make use of it, though.
They're throwing a couple of chug splashes, but don't necessarily have a ton to work with. I feel like if Trey can just get one of these shots with his shotgun, that'll be enough to at least scare them off the point and give him a chance to grab Kona's card and dip on out of here. They're fighting in the storm. I know neither one of these players wants to do this, especially with the new storm sickness that has been implemented. For those that are unaware, in order to try and counter some of the heal-off strats that have been happening in storms recently, you spend more than 7 minutes in the storm throughout a total game. All of a sudden, you're getting ticked 15 damage apiece. So you need to be careful at this point here. Trey, I think he's just going to try and go for the card and dip on out of here, and I think both teams are going to do exactly that.
And I like this from Gases and Iroh, right? You take the time to play defensive, not particularly because you're looking for any kills, but because you're delaying the inevitable. You prevent getting Kona back in the game, and at that point, you're just taking down a squad. Right? There's no guarantee in a duos tournament you're going to be able to survive, especially when we start talking about Storms 5 and further, when those rotations become even more prevalent, and you being out of position is much quicker when it comes to being spotted out.
And at this point, I think that's kind of what you have to do if you know you're not necessarily one of the front runners in a game like this. Play it patiently. Play it as calm and collected as you can. For a player like Trey, though, at this point, they can play calm and collected, but they also now need to be very cautious of every single fight that they take. They will always be at a numbers disadvantage. And, well, a team that is not at a numbers disadvantage, that is where the gold AR went. Okay, so Janman gave it up to Law. This makes a lot more sense.
Okay. Spent that one there, traded it to a little bit of the lead frag roll here. You got Quinn on the other side, laying shots down. Looks like this is in assistance from multiple teams here. You can see the shots expended from Nosy and Des out there on the other end, so completely shredding through. Sucks to be in the center, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, it really does.
What do you do? What do you do?
You get eliminated, and that's a pretty big one. That is Quinn, another one of our front runners. Okay, you know what? Forget the term front runner. Apparently, everybody's getting washed tonight. It doesn't matter how good you've been in previous competitions.
Doesn't matter at all here. They can sniff that one out from afar. Granted, a lot of that damage wasn't just sustained by Law. And John Mac, we have to give Nonzi a bit of the credit to as well for finding a big source of what really put them down there, because I believe a lot of the walls were still pretty defensible in terms of the angle that we were seeing here from Law and Jan.
100%. And, well, at this point, we're seeing a whole lot of walls getting thrown up just around this river here. Seems like we've started to figure out where the little suburbs outside of Tilted are going to start popping up. This is usually a pretty common trend. You'll start to see teams get prepared for what is the long haul, knowing that teams are going to start emerging from those edge zones. They're just going to wait until inevitably they have to fight. Well, a team that seems to have to try and navigate through said Tilted Tower zone like we were talking about is going to be Kesh and Yari here. They're looking for just an escape, or maybe not. Are they preparing out of Tilted, hoping the circle goes their way?
It's too early to make a decision like that. At this point, they've got to be decided. No, they're going for slow clear. Slow clear, resource assessment, run it through wall on wall on wall. Meanwhile, we check in with Capadena here, and Gang Balak. It looks like they're running toe-to-toe against Barack Obama and Donald Trump.
Fascinating names here in the Fortnite community. I'm not gonna lie, it's, you know, not the worst names that we could have out in total, but it doesn't matter if you've got a good name behind you. You also need to hit your shots, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like they're going to. Former presidents looking like they'll go down as a duo, as both Bulk and their duo in Cap O'Donna are gonna keep on chasing them down, and they will find the final elimination. Another team bites the dust.
Not just any team, our leaders, our Fortnite fathers, now officially down and out here. A bit of a shame, but I love the resources that are now picked up here for Balak and Capadonna. You got multiple splashes now for both here, as they'll be able to utilize those, especially for some of these next rotations. Now, granted, we know Pyresric here, Sandstorm, they're all within the area, and these were some of the squads that were fighting fairly early on back when we were talking about our third-party situation in Storm 1, so they could be potentially making their way in or out. No, they're going to actually have to run up into them here, yeah, as they make... This is a pretty risky move.
Oh, this is going to be the only move they've got, though, at this point here. I will say, the team that we saw prepping up in Tilted Towers, they made the right call. As you can see, the circle has moved to the east side of this map, or at least of the zone that we have allowed, so they're going to be able to kind of rest for at least a second and try and prep themselves up. This team, though, in Warren Jock, they cannot do that. They have got to try and find themselves a pretty safe space, as everyone is circling around them here. This is kind of the issue when you do go to the center of the zone, is you put a huge target on your back, and whether or not you can protect yourself kind of comes down to, can you hit your shots? They've got those to work with, but unfortunately for them, they've got a million players around them.
Love this Shiesty and crew take to the high ground here, right above Hyper Awareness and Jock. And Sandstorm doesn't look like they'll be taking any kind of damage here. Nothing like we saw earlier, but for Shiesty, it's definitely a nice angle to utilize, especially as most of the teams have been making their way up from a kind of low ground positioning. Having those angles and those head peaks can be so valuable, especially when you want to start laying damage down or preventing rotations that could be potentially dangerous to your position.
Speaking of dangerous rotations here, well, apparently our boys in Tilted did not have the best bet. It worked out initially, but it's not going to work out this time. First half and half has officially started, and for a lot of these teams, they're going to need to bolt. I only see like 3 squads that are actually in this zone, so we're about to see another great migration from almost everybody in this lobby. Speaking of everybody in this lobby, we have got a majority of it still around, halfway through our circles, and we've still got 44 players remaining.
So what's really interesting about this next storm here, or at least what we're currently seeing of it, is a good majority of it is, I would kind of assess as more than unplayable, right? I mean, it pulls towards that low ground river where, one, you won't want to be wanting to play on water, but the other half of it still has high ground advantage kind of in play. That's where we see Sandstorm and crew currently put themselves, right? So everyone's going to be trying to contest for this ridge that you see right here.
They're trying their best. Unfortunately, a couple of players not going to see the day and be able to go and contest that there. We saw Noble Gases get eliminated in the speed in the top left, and
no one shot that.
I mean, I'm surprised by that one here. Less surprising the fact that as soon as they try to go to the high ground, everybody starts firing shots at this duo. Crest and Davey do have a lot of resources to play with here, but at the same time, they got to be careful. Everybody's entering into the zone, and players like Iro, they are not surviving.
Now that'll be it. That's not just Iro, but Friends, Gases as well. The full squad now being officially eliminated, and Trey was doused as well earlier. So technically, some of those late rotations, late rotations and early fighting were punished out.
Speaking of punishment to this point here, though, this is going to be a punishing game for 2 of our front runners. Like we said, both Quinn's duo and Trey's duo are now officially out of this game, meaning that they're going to have to try and run it back in round number 2 instead. For players like Cut and Venman, though, you can see them popping up in the feed in the top left a whole lot right now. They finished in 6th place in the East Coast yesterday, but they have told me personally that they are coming here today to take the crown. Venman's been in my DMs literally saying, hey, man, I'm betting on myself. I know we've got this. I will improve from yesterday. It's kind of something, it goes to show you, when a player finishes in 6th place and says, disappointing performance, you know that they've got something to prove. Yeah, really.
Sucked. I would kill to be in 6th place. No, I like the quality, the standards that these guys hold themselves to, because it keeps it competitive and keeps them constantly on this forward foot where they're looking to not just perform, but do better to the point where they, continually pick up those consistent wins. Meanwhile, looking at Dom McFlurry there, some damage was sustained out, but they couldn't really finish the job. Playing kind of through the middling area of these tarps doesn't actually allow them much of an angle, so for now, he's going to be trying to utilize some of the warps.
Trying their best, but it does look like the contest for high ground is about to officially start here. Tracy's going to have to build through if they want a chance to get there. Unfortunately for them, they run into a pretty big team. Doesn't matter who they run into, though. One tap and done in hyper-awareness. They're sent home.
Not a chance to even respond there. McFlurry walks up, turns the corner, has a split second to decide, finishes it.
Looks like they're out officially.
That's so good.
They're going to take the high ground move or not. Interesting. They go into previous tarps and just start trying to find some safety. This is clever out of McFlurry and Tracy. They know they don't necessarily have a ton of builds to waste, so instead of trying to take the high ground where it's contested, find open space and just take advantage.
Still, making good use of these builds here. I wouldn't even say they don't have much to utilize. 100 potentially a piece here among both of their teammates is a plethora, especially as we start tightening up here in the very, very end. So being restrictive, right? Playing off what has already been built and set up for them. Good advantage. I like the fact that they keep this spread, though. Tracy playing back end, playing supportive, keeping it defensible, while McFlurry leads the way, provides shots, and then makes moves forward.
Speaking of making moves forward, how about moves upwards here? Preston Davey holding on to the high ground, but this is the issue with having rifts in the competitive field right now is that you cannot hold the high ground for all too long before someone starts to try and attack you here. Seems like they can fend off all the attackers thus far. Cloud going to be going down due to the hand of Davey here, and he might be able to find another player as well. Scar trying to drop on them, but they've only got about 10 health left. They might be able to survive, but they're probably going down to the hands of someone else. Davey and Crest successfully defending their high ground.
They make it look easy, too. It didn't even feel like there was a chance with the Rift play to ever come through. And that's the thing with Rift. It can be an advantage like you bring up, but the way you have to approach that, more tact, you're not trying to go directly on position that you're hold, you go for something similar, something that you can expand on top of Heat for that high ground. Capadonna is going to go directly on top and begin the build off here.
Oh boy, and we're gonna see this build off probably continue until the end of the round, because now this is where it starts to get intense. Crest and Capadonna, ooh, exchanging blows, but Davey unfortunately only has 30 health to play with. They're gonna try and heal up real quickly, but this is gonna get difficult. When you've got this many players that are all trying to fight you at once, you have to make sure you land every shot.
Now, Capadonna actually drops quite low here to give himself that opportunity to heal a little bit back up. Now, no builds anymore. You tried to expand on the build off, tried to pull for the refresh, you no longer can do it, no longer have the weaponry as well. I mean, you're at the whim of everything ahead of you here. And perfect! A wipe on to Janman.
Well, there's the refresh that they needed as well, with no health resources to work with. It's going to be all they can take, though. At this point, Zev, they need to just try and run with it. I mean, hey, listen, man, 6 builds or not, they need more than just that refresh. They need to go find another one again. Cap into a corner, but look who else has been backed into a corner as well. Broken and Bach going for even more eliminations and trying to continue on their success from yesterday.
Broken and Bach more than successful as it stands in this current game. We've been seeing them light up the feed all game long here, and they're continuing to do so. Granted, at this point, we're talking about a slow rotation as they play through the mud here.
Ooh, but all of a sudden, we're down to only one of our last zones. We're down to circle number 9. After this, it's going to entirely close. With 14 players still remaining, it feels like Davey and Crest getting the high ground that early and holding on to it. It's going to be such a big advantage, but they drop down. Crest takes a little bit of damage, and they can't afford to do that. They've got no white heals. This is going to be a problem. If Davey and Crest give up the high ground and start to throw themselves into the mud, I don't know how they're going to play. I'm realizing why, though. 4 builds, 35 shotgun shots. That's it.
You need to be playing directly on someone at this current point. You hold high ground when you know you have the resources to spare, drop down, and then finish the job later. Not when you're starving here. But this Storm, it's going to starve much harder than any damage or player can throw at you.
Oh no, there goes Crest and Dom. They're also gonna go down. All of a sudden, we get the victory royale to a team we weren't even paying attention to. Zammy and Talks outlast the rest of the competition as the Storm is their best friend here in game number 1.
And it's just tough in moments like that. We're talking about incredibly tight finishes there. I mean, it was only a moment ago I was talking about, I mean, we're starting to take this real slow, wall to wall to wall. You must have had an absurd stack, a tiered cake of sorts of players for that to happen.
I would agree with you on that. I mean, I don't even know what the cake was, though, at this point here. It could be any flavor of the rainbow at this point, because I'm trying to understand, and all of a sudden, we come out on top. The 2 front runners that looked good go down in the blink of an eye, and it's the team that outlasts them. Again, it kind of goes to show you, it doesn't really matter if you're able to establish yourself mid-game. If you cannot outlast your competition when it comes to those final zones, it doesn't make a difference.
No, I feel like if you've put yourself either in a position where you have a heavy handle on resources or a god spot to work with, when it starts getting really tight there, when we start going towards that 9th Storm, there's no longer the moment of, okay, well, I just got to keep moving forward. No, that's your last opportunity to pull the trigger and find access towards any of those potential eliminations that allow you to find victory, because you don't want to be back up against the Storm, taking half your health and damage, and suddenly that's the reason you lose, even though only 30 seconds earlier you were in a fantastic position.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing, is that it is such a timing-based game. Well, if you're able to have that timing in your favor, you can walk away with a game like this. Zammy and Talks take game number 1 with 30 total points, 5 eliminations. I mean, again, it just kind of goes to show you, you don't necessarily need to wipe the lobby. You just need to get those elims when it counts.
Hey, 30 points is a massive start, and while it may not be the most monumental in terms of elims, that's not what particularly counts, especially when we look at that point spread there. But still, there's a lot of other squads I know for a fact definitely had quite a few eliminations, barked and broken, to say the least, who might also be still will be within a competitive realm.
Well, I think they had a pretty competitive round, but how competitive we'll have to find out when we come back. When we return, we'll have an update on that scoreboard, give you guys a little bit of insight to what's to come, so do not go anywhere. We'll return in just a moment.
https://twitter.com/Septilence. Don't put that in. I'll get in trouble. So that's worth it. Did I get too close to the camera on that one? A little bit too close. Should I back up a little bit? Okay, sorry about that. My bad. I've been awake for probably close to 32 hours. Like, I have to hold my keyboard like the normal way, because if I do it, I feel like I have arthritis if I hold my keyboard like that. It blows my mind. I can never do that. Like this guy right here, he's got his keyboard like off at an angle. His isn't that extreme. There's a kid all the way down to the far end who has his keyboard all the way at like a horizontal.
That's really cool.
They're gonna be at that table right over there.
Public information?
Oh, I don't know. But this isn't live, so it doesn't matter.
It's not live, but like you and I know.
Yeah, we know.
I'm not gonna tweet it.
Awesome. What game do you play?
Smash Bros.
Who do you play? Is it embarrassing? Is it like Villager?
Yeah.
Is it Villager? Am I spot on? Oh my god. Is it the Ice Climbers?
No.
Is it Game & Watch?
No.
Is it Pichu?
No.
Is it Wario?
No.
I can keep going. I think I can name every character in the game. Is it, did I say the Ice Climbers already?
Yeah, you said them.
Is
No,
it them?
not them.
Is it them a second time?
No.
Okay, alright. Oh, is it one of the Links?
Yes, it is.
Is it Toon Link?
It is.
Oh, that is pretty embarrassing. That is rough. Who do you play?
I'll give you $20 if you guess correctly right now.
First try?
First try.
Give me a single hint.
It's an obscure character,
Obscure character.
not played very often.
Is it Wii Fit Trainer?
Oh my god!
I'm the interviewer for a reason, baby. I do what I do. I don't need the money. I appreciate it, though. I appreciate it. So Bowser Jr., Wii Fit, and I forgot already. Are you all lying to me? Am I being gaslit? No. Bowser Jr., Wii Fit, and you told me already. Oh, Toon Link. Yep. Where's my main support at? Who are we playing this weekend?
A lot of Brig.
A lot of Brig, really?
Brig Lucio, probably.
Brig Lucio, really? I shouldn't say that too loud. I don't want to give all your strategies. It's over under.
What do you mean over under?
Like, do we think we're gonna podium? Do we think we're gonna come in last place?
Not last place.
Not last place.
Certainly not last.
What about like 5th place?
That's doable.
That's doable. That's winnable. 3rd place.
Third place.
That's where things get dicey.
That's very doable.
Okay.
First place. That's very doable.
First place, very doable. Love it. That's the mindset. That's what he loves to hear. Yeah. Oh my God. Hold on. Cut the cameras. Well, who are you? Hello. Oh my God. I saw you earlier. I saw the back of your shirt. And I was like, I know that name. I know him. It's a quick play game. They Q-sniped each other at land. I thought it was a scrim. It's just unlucky. Are you actually a Villager player?
Yeah.
How do you feel about Villager being notably worse in Smash Ultimate than they were in Smash 4?
I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know? You never played Smash 4?
No.
Oh, that's all right. Nobody's gonna hold that against you. Who do you play?
I play Robin.
Okay, wow. Did you know Robin has the lowest pick rate in the game?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Come on, the LEDs, it looks just like Samus.
Huh?
Do you disagree?
I guess I can see.
The Samus vibe. Show the controller to the camera. We're interviewing. This is recording, by the way. Surprise.
Not my controller.
Who do you play?
I play Peach.
Oh, wow, I like that. Who do you play?
I play the Shotos, mostly Kazi.
No, you lose against Kirby. That's just like a statistics thing.
Yeah.
It's maybe.
This is a death match. I think they're all in the same one. They're all on Icebox. Are they all in the same death match? Maybe. Who knows? I feel like none of them can hear me. I want to like approach somebody, but no one can hear. They all have both their headphones on.
What's up?
How do we think we're doing?
I think we're doing pretty good. Yeah.
What's your kitty?
We're looking at 10 and 6 right now.
Oh, hey, that's 3rd, dude. That's better than I expected. Who's bottom frag right now? I want to go talk to them. Ian? Hey, how do you think we're doing so far?
You know, it could be better.
Could be better? You one of those rough days?
Well, you know.
Let's go find more people to harass. Yeah. Where's Boise State? Who's your favorite to play?
Oh, right now it's got to be either Chamber or Breach.
What country is Cypher from?
Oh, dude, it's Moroccan, right?
It is Morocco. Oh my God, I don't think anyone is gonna get that. Oh, you're good. You're good. All right, see you later. Let's go harass Boise State more. Who is this? What school is this? Boise?
This is Boise.
Oh man, that's okay. Boise's still got really good odds. A Large Bagel, one of their tank players, Nerdy Bird, they're off tank. Both of them not here. A little bit scary, if we're being honest. Getting warmed up, getting ready to cast some players. No, okay, not cast, interview. Change your mindset, change your mindset.
Words.
No, but last words until we come back.
Oh, okay.
Because we're leaving.
Enjoy.
Oh,
that was good, that was good. Anything from you?
How are you doing, Polly?
Awesome, thank you so much for your time.
A single elimination will get you a single point, and apparently Jack would like to get a point already on the board. Early down and an early elimination will put him on the board.
Here, Fluger makes their way in to start this one off. Finds great shots found there on pull back, but does take at least a punch in return. He's going to find the one remaining member. Colo's going to have to look for escape, but that's a full, complete elimination there.
Look at that. Look who has the gold AR, and apparently it's not going to help.
Pulling back right now, they are a bit in a poor position as Milk Shites.
What's up, Fortnite fam? Welcome back to the EsportsU Campus Cup featuring Fortnite West Coast Edition this time. My name is Oliver Bass, joined alongside by none other than Zephyr, and we are back after round number 1 here with a little bit of a surprising ending there. We had a couple of frontrunners you and I were talking about coming into this one. None of them even made it to the top 5. So as we take a look at the leaderboard here, you can see exactly what we mean. Zammy and Tox all the way at the very top with 30 points, but they are not uncontested. Zay and Dom also at 30 after getting 2nd place, but 8 eliminations. So we've got a pretty closely contested scoreboard here, especially 1 through 5, but none of that 1 through 5 is really anybody that you and I were expecting.
No, we've got some new kids on the block, particularly as we make our way towards the west here. Granted, Bach and Broken in no shy state themselves.
Oh, yeah.
You have to remember, we're talking about this lobby being filled with a separation of 30 entire squads here, and Bach and Broken are still staying competitive within that top 5. So technically, our predictions towards front runners are not completely wrong. And there you go, just below that, not too far away in 9th, Fluger, Jonathan still doing fairly well. Some a bit more surprised to see, though, a bit lower, all the way down here, kind of through 10th through 20th.
Yeah, there are a couple of teams that I feel like we've got to try and pay attention to that don't even make this top 20 right now. Again, yeah, that's the crazy part is that they're not, they did so poorly in game number 1. They're not even in the top 20. And the players we're talking about, Trey and Kona, Tiny and RHQ, Rich Homie Quinn. This is, I mean, again, it's game number 1, so I'm not going to put too much pressure on these guys. They've got a long time to try and recover, but at the same time, as we hop off the battle bus into game number 2 here, if they do not establish themselves with at least a somewhat better result, they're going to have an uphill battle the rest of the day.
Well, we'll see how the game fares for them now. I believe it was a little bit too much of the early aggression. You know, I talked about a gentleman's agreement, right? Storm 1, you don't want to be expending that much time or that many resources to put yourself in a position where you really can't find good rotation or come back from it, even if you find the successful elimination, right? I mean, you have to weigh your options sometimes, even if it means giving up the extra, well, additional point, I guess. I mean, it's not a KDA race.
No, it is not by any stretch of the imagination. And I think for a player like Kona, they're going to really recognize that. Last time, they immediately tried to charge into another player's box and got punished oh so quickly. This time, they're probably going to play this one a little bit more carefully and try and focus on the late game, if you will. Right now, let's focus on the early game here. 28 teams up, 56 players in our lobby. And we've got a little bit of time now to just sort of check in on the loot that goes around. A team that we have not checked in a while is going to be Yari and Kesh. They didn't do poorly in game number 1, but definitely a team that's going to need to step up here in game number 2.
Right. I mean, and they've got a plethora of time to make this one happen. Dig a few chests out there. Take a stroll on the beach.
Yeah. Just kind of vibe. Do their thing. Relax, hang
Ah,
out.
yeah,
you know.
vibe.
I like this. Listen,
Vibe and Yari.
This is true. This is true. I mean, hey, listen. If I had the option, I would also probably be doing the same thing. Chill out early, find ourselves a little bit of health, find ourselves a little bit of resources, and then really get ready for the fight when it arrives. Fight not really arriving for anybody at this point here. We're early into this game. No one has been eliminated thus far. Really, no one getting contested here. Again, we mentioned this before. Smaller lobby means a lot more open space to kind of work.
And even places like Sanctuary last time where we did see our early eliminations come through aren't the target area anymore. Apparently it's over here by Shifty Shafts. Iroh already eliminated. Gases as well. This time around not able to defend for themselves as it's even earlier this time around. And this time Quinn gonna not be dropped early.
Oh boy, I think Quinn might just be a little bit angry of going out early in that last round. How about a lot of bit angry here? They wiped the team without a second thought, and I think they also are recognizing they're not uncontested here. They saw the shots from a distance, so now they just kind of gotta wait. Capodonna lurking in the wings, and honestly, if I'm Cap, I'm a little bit scared right now. You see how quickly this team builds up and wipes that other squad? Get ready for the fight, my friend. The battle for the shafts is about to begin.
Where is Balk? That's what I'm looking for right now. I need to know the exact positioning on this one for the two, because Capodonna, I mean, if it is spotted out, could very quickly be eliminated. Okay, Balk is all the way back here. That is a huge separation, and while it may provide an angle, if you have Quinn and potentially those make themselves, you know, kind of a free target, it could be good, but it's extremely risky.
Being risky here, looks like we're going to have a battle for the edge of the map this time instead. Frosty Fly and Mello going to be trying to take on their opponents in Flopper Kev, and I believe, I didn't see who they were teaming with here, but the unfortunate reality is it doesn't matter because they're completely separated as it stands. Kev just trying to survive, trying to build his way away, and I don't know if he's going to be able to. He's got 5 health to his name. He puts in a decent amount of damage, but a single shot will be the end here for Kev. They're going to get away with it, Seth.
They might get away, but it won't be the same for Nuke. Eliminated from behind there, comes up to respond, and Mello making short work of the two there on the next drop down.
Not too surprising. You could kind of expect that. You saw as soon as Kev goes down or gets down to low health, Noob tries to swoop in and make Superman, if you will, and go, I got this. I can rescue them. I can absolutely make up for... No, you can't, my friend. I apologize to you, but that's not going to happen. Not here in this round. Not in round 2, where a team like Mello and Frosty are going to try to redeem themselves. Ooh, and a team that I thought would redeem themselves would be Kona and Trey. Instead, once again, Kona with a very early exit.
At this point, Trey might follow suit here fairly shortly. Taking the time in the farm, in the barn. Might be looking for a nap. They actually had to finish this quite quickly. You can see they're out on the west. You've got third party coming through, potentially to follow suit.
Honestly, if I'm Trey, I'm dipping out of here. Okay, maybe not. Excuse me, Trey. Let me never suggest anything to you again. Quick 1-2 on Parzik. Drops him down to only 50 health total. Shiesty's going to try and defend while his teammate heals on up. But for Trey, that might be the exit they were looking for. Grab that card, dip on out, get Kona revived, and avoid the third party.
Woo. Oh, and this is Quinn coming in. You talked about him being angry. Well, he is potentially mad. Capodonna there instantly beamed. And now Balk from afar. I talked about the angles. I talked about waiting. I talked about the risk. Well, now you're going to see it come through in full force here. Balk on 1 health.
Trying to survive, just trying anything he can to keep on going. Capodonna taken out by the force of nature and his opponent. Well, on the other side, as you can see on the left side of your screen, somehow, some way, they will continue to survive is Trey. RH Quinn gonna finish off his opponents, and well, so will Trey do. So will Trey follow suit here. Shiesty finishes off Trey, and again, 2 of our front runners early exits out of this game.
Early exits here, but for Parzik and Milks, it definitely looks pretty good. Finished fairly early, sitting at what was ranked 7th overall. Not a ton of points to work with in terms of the overall leaderboard, but with early eliminations like this, continue to bolster a position I mean, it's a little bit different, right? I mean, it's not, you know, starting on the back foot like Quinn, where you have to come in hot now going into game 2 and forward. You have a little bit more leeway.
Little, though, I will say, is the big thing here, because I've seen this before in competitions. Teams who don't necessarily start off with enough points to really catch up the rest of the night. We talk about playing uphill battles. It's unfortunately a thing that we've seen many times here in pretty much every battle royale on the planet. Fortnite is no exception, so you've got to be careful. Make sure you establish yourself early enough, or at least don't let yourself fall too far behind. And for Carp and Sandstorm here, they seem to think the exact same idea. Long-range battle going to engage, but a quick 80 damage onto Carpin. I don't think that was the team they were fighting. If it was, I'm not sure what they hit him with.
Power, strength, more importantly, fear. And that fear gives them the opportunity to get the heck out of there.
Ooh, you say that, Benji.
Not without a little bite on their butt.
Just a little bit.
Bit me in my butt, and I was running.
They're still running, and I think they're about to run into another team. I'm not sure if you can see that in the top right there, but there is the team lurking on the edge of Tilted. If they make too much noise, we could find that third party.
Mind you, all of these squads have to make their rotation much farther north.
Oh boy. Let's see if they can do exactly that. For right now, it just kind of feels like both of the teams are taking a second to try and reassess themselves. Although, again, Venji, every time they step into any sort of open, and Carp just drills them.
That, I mean, we're talking long shot after long shot here from Carp. I mean, you expend the resources at this current point. There's no way you pull for a kill, right?
No.
So you're just weakening them. I mean, you play with your food, supposedly.
I mean, yes, technically I agree with you on that one, but at the same time, ooh, maybe don't mess around too much.
Seriously,
here.
what are they putting in their cereal this morning?
Dude, I don't know, but ever since supposedly, quote unquote, they nerfed the toe tap.
No, they didn't.
Instead, they're
No,
still
they
hitting
didn't.
headshots with
No,
them.
they didn't.
I don't understand, man. No one wants to use a sniper, but you probably should if you're hitting shots like this.
I mean, I understand the reason why you aren't pulling for a sniper when you have scoped ARs like this. I mean, the rate of fire, the DPS, how do you contest against that?
Pray, hope, somewhere in between, not really sure. For right now, all you really do is just sort of hold on to the space that you have been given. 48 players left in this lobby as we get through zone number 2 here, and that's kind of the surprising part is that we have actually seen a lot more players, in my opinion, exit out of this lobby early on. Last time we got to, what was it, zone number 5 or 6 with 44 players remaining. This time we're only 2 in, and we've already seen more than 10 players exit out.
Well, I'll hold you to that for Stormborn 5.
Fair enough, fair enough.
We've definitely got some time before that one there, and I don't know. I think things do tend to take a bit of a subtle lull here as we do approach that mid-game. Teams get a little bit more house of hotel here.
Well, listen, I'm a fan of cool architecture. I have no problems if they start to build their own little condominiums across this map here. For right now, looks like everybody's decided on the lumber yard as their new home, the new place to set up the suburbs here. Is there's a couple of different teams just lurking around the wings. No one wants to make the move, though. You see this every so often, is that teams have recognized that there is going to be a bit of an aggressive lobby, so rather than sort of falling into the same pattern of that aggression, they'll just try and avoid fights and find themselves some safety.
Now, something that we are going to have to start discussing is the fact that this is going to be such an insane kind of high ground elevated endgame, right? And when we begin looking at rotations, especially through the next kind of ending storms, you gotta pray, hope the pull doesn't force you to go uphill, especially late. There is nothing that will save you in moments like that. And those with high ground position or the rift to work with are going to find themselves lasting much longer.
It is going to be interesting to see how rifts start to affect these games. We saw it last time. A couple of different teams tried to rift on out and didn't work all too well. Speaking of not working all too well, there we go.
Nice. Edit it. Yeah,
you got
edit
this, Baz.
it.
You survived
Perfect.
with 100 health left in the car. Was it really worth it?
Man's got to get some rocks. They crave that mineral. They crave that mineral. They down there, and a car is going to be particularly useless at that current point, so there's no reason to.
No.
I feel like, you know, you look at what's ahead of you and you're like, I mean, they say it's all-wheel drive, but the dealer didn't tell me about this.
I mean, listen, man, you're telling me that a car with 100 health, where if you get shot like 4 times is going to explode, is not useful? I don't know about that one, man. That's a bold call. I don't know, man. What I do know right now is that we got to see some action. It has been a while since we've seen anybody really get into a close fight, but they know that they have to. The third storm is about to move, and for Mello and Frosty, they've got to get into a much more advantageous position, and so do a whole lot of teams. Here comes that migration we've been waiting for.
Bit tough there. While I do like seeing the damage expended back there from Mello, I'd like to see them put themselves in a better position before actually trying to make trades like that. You know, make the cross, get yourself to the ridge, find yourself where you can now put down shots like that.
I put a couple of shots on. That car seems to have a little bit more health than the previous one that we had been looking at. But listen, man, a car is a car, and at this point, you need to try and find yourself a down. I don't think that that's what Patzer was looking for there, but for Fresco Bob, they're now going to have to try and survive against Lil Tracy and their duo, or they're just going to dip on out. Wow, look at that. Bob just says, all right, no, I don't want any of this. Good luck. Figure it out.
Not much to lose, I suppose.
Yeah? Yeah? No, I agree with you on that one. Just kind of dipping on out, trying to go for another day. And for Tracy and McFlurry, this is probably only the beginning of the fights for them. They seem to not be turning away from anybody who tries and contest them.
I want to point out Bob is literally right below McFlurry and Tracy right now.
No, is he really?
Yeah. Just literally right below. You can't see it due to the camera angle there, but they've got him right across, just running on what is the western side here. Meanwhile, B-Lizard, oh, come on! Just jumps out right there for a split second. Could have been a shot to be had there.
No shots to be found quite yet. It does look like we're kind of starting to get to the point where the contests are going to happen, but pretty much everybody's just sort of content in their own box for now. Since the last time we checked in on the total of players in this lobby, we've only lost 1. We were at 45 a little while ago. Now we're at 44. Maybe we can change that up with Sandstorm and Carp here, seemingly getting into a fight. Who are they battling against, though, as they do have a couple of players shooting them from a distance? Is this a third party, or are they getting into a close one-on-one battle here? You can see there's a team directly to their left, and Jonathan plays in Pfluger, but they do not want to engage.
No. Nothing as it currently stands here, but the Storm's going to force the issue at a certain point. You got Scars and Benji just a click away here for further rotation. I mean, this is so tough. How do you play this one out? Obviously, you've got the Rift to work with, but you're expending it super early if you make a move like that.
Are they going to make that early move, though? Venji and Scar at this point here just kind of waiting. Carp and Sandstorm doing the same. I love these type of little patient waiting games where both sides go, no, you go first. No, you go first. No, you go first. And, well, to be honest, whichever team does go first is probably just going to walk into the hands of Jonathan Plays and Pfluger. So it's not necessarily like they've got a good option here. I mean, they may not have an option at all. It seems like the battle has begun as shots are firing over at Scar and Venji. What they could do here is bait them out, though. That's a big thing. If they can expose this team enough, all of a sudden, Jonathan Plays and Pfluger, they're going to have to third party.
Carp got a little bit too disrespectful there, and as a result, takes a whiff of damage, and then from behind is now taking shots as well. Not paying respect to Venji forces them into a position where, yes, Bass, shots are found from afar.
There it is. Pfluger putting in a couple of pot shots here, and this is exactly what Carp was hoping for. They were trying to bait out their opponents, trying to get them involved in the fight. Well, it looks like that fight is going to continue here as Carp's going to drop down. Are they going to try and charge into their box? No, they're going to wrap around the side. Pfluger sees this move, though, and knows that it's a threat, so he's going to keep on drilling shots. Carp still trying to survive, wasting resources and wasting health here. Pfluger and Jonathan Plays have their opponents exactly where they want them.
Very nice knock on the tree there. That presses Sandstorm Snake back down low. Able to find at least the one shield potion to work with for now, but the Storm, that's what's going to begin to tick here.
Uh-oh, and they don't have any resources to try and fight against this. You can see Carp has got themselves a Rift, but that's the only thing besides a weapon in their inventory. I don't know about Snake, but I'd have to imagine it's pretty similar. And as this tree starts tumbling downhill, it can take one of them out. It'll take out a decent amount of their builds. It will not take out a player, but Jonathan Plays in Pfluger. There is no way they let this team survive.
Completely on the low ground there. I gotta know exactly where this Storm pulls here, because without a doubt, Scarf and Sandstorm are going to have to be playing up into Pfluger and Jonathan here.
They're trying so hard just to
No,
survive.
they don't!
Oh, boy.
It's right on top of them!
It's on top of both of them. It's literally the only two teams in the storm. The rest of the lobby is now going to have to join the fray. Wait, what?
mean,
They have a car?
You know all those squads who are knocking their vehicles off the cliff? This is what happens. It's free reload.
Apparently so. All right, you know what? Honestly, at this point, Carp and Sandstorm, props to you. Hats off. They made a bold call. They survived said bold call, and it worked out. You can see from this entire angle here, Jonathan Blaze and Pfluger by far in the best position. Everybody else has to try and contest that high ground. I mean, honestly, you know who came away with the win there? Scar and Benji. Now they've got the high ground to contest with.
Yeah, I will say we dropped Scar and Benji's just entire narrative there in watching this entire rotation from Carp and crew. It was immaculate how they were actually able to sneak up, come through, and play right behind both Jonathan and Pfluger. For now, though, all these squads finally making their way up the lengthy, necessary climb here. You can see Bach and Broken just landed, but are quickly dropped. Tracy finding that first elim there onto Bach.
Well, that's a big team to also be trying to get an elimination
Tiny.
on, as Bach is officially taken out by Tiny there. Benji and Scar still going to hold on to their high ground here as we're down to 19 squads remaining, 35 left in this lobby. We're about to have this first half and half zone officially end here. Nounzy takes out Baz. Now I think that honestly, this is about to be another battle that we've been waiting for a while. Benji and Scar start to put on some shots, and this is what we knew was going to happen. As soon as the circle got close, this was going to be a brawl.
A fantastic shred through that continues to pummel Mello and crew down, and for them, they're going to have to contest against all the squads below as Scar, Benji, they defend their high ground so effectively.
They're doing a great job, and you know who didn't walk away with a win there? It looks like Sandstorm Snake has been taken out of this game, and that's not all too surprising. They were at the low ground trying to hold on to it and very much struggling to do so. But Jonathan Blaze and Pfluger right now, there are no struggles for this team here. Fantastic position, a vehicle in their grasp, and a vehicle with almost full health. They're going to be able to do whatever they want. Once the circle starts to move, they're going to be able to book it. Oh, right. There they go.
With available Pfluger, Jonathan, fast and furious, straight through the storm here, and the shots are ringing through just as quickly as they get out. They have to block themselves in, but they've put themselves ahead of the rest. This is time to spare.
It's a little bit of time to spare, but as you can see, everybody flying through the skies, trying to find themselves some sort of battle. And I think that, honestly, for Jonathan Blaze and Pfluger, they might be one of the only teams here trying not to get contested. Everybody else trying to fight for that high ground. As you can see, that walkway being built on the left side. Broken's still around in this game. I didn't realize that they were still here, but as they drop from the skies, it does seem like a couple of teams with their solo players still trying to hang on to whatever they can. Benji and Scar here seemingly do still have pretty good and uncontested box, but maybe not quite. Donald Trump tries to charge in. And wait a minute, Snake's gonna get the elimination. All of a sudden, we see a team go down here. Jonathan Blaze and Pfluger out of nowhere find themselves an elimination.
Hey, I like the look of that one there. You come through, clean house, you take advantage. Now Jonathan gonna take some time in the storm, get Pfluger back into play here. Realize the final splash is available, and now they're back in the realm, the ring.
Wait a minute, Jonathan Blaze, he's only got 20 health to play with. If he can get a quick refresh, that would be fantastic. The Siphon would absolutely help him out. But Pfluger's got almost no health to play with either. 6 mini shields to their name, and that's all that they've really got. For Scar, it's pretty similar here. They are by themselves, 6 mini shields to play with, and a little bit of ammo in their pocket. The big difference for, I'm going to say Jonathan Blaze is he's got a teammate to play with, but not anymore. The solo's going to have to try and battle this one out, and on the left side, you can see there is still also the contest for the high ground. And there is no contest for the low anymore. McFlurry takes out Jonathan, and that team, although they hinge their bets on the high ground, do not find success in it.
Not a chance there. Mello also dropped as it brings us down to 20 left, a third of the lobby here. Shades and Nounzy, this is a crew that we saw perform highly well, second overall. We talk about our current leaderboard, and they laying down shots from above, ammo to spare.
got plenty of them to spare, but do they have the max to spare at this point here? 40 on Shades means that they're not necessarily going to be able to mess around too much more. Although, it does look like they might be able to find a quick refresh here. Nounsy's around, and they're going to be able to get themselves healed on up, but can they find anybody else? Jan-Man on the high ground wants to drop them low. Cannot do so. Law and them going to continue to contest, so they'll head to the mid-pack instead. Probably not the worst idea, but it's not really helping them out. Shots from all different directions, and they may not be able to survive. They're all down to 50 health, and they have to use all the rest of their chug splashes.
No chug splash available, no reset allowed there after the next expended fight here. And for Nounsy and Shades, they've just got to keep moving. They're playing at slow edge of circle here, but very quickly does Shades fall, caught with his back against the wall. Now Nounsy gonna try to go for that 9-second 3-5-7. Anything to work with in these final moments.
Now they're trying to keep themselves up at this point here, and unfortunately it's going to be a bit difficult when you've got so many squads that are continuing to raid fire. All you can really do is try and hold on. 11 players left in this lobby, 8 teams, meaning if you've got a duel right now, you're at a massive advantage.
For Shiesty here and Parsik, they've been holding this high ground for so long, but from below, Broken shreds through. He will be eliminated, but this splits the crew. Now it's just up to Parsik to pull this one off with 6 members remaining.
Oh boy, I think there might be only a single duo, 1 or 2 around at this point. Parsik not going to be one of them.
Yeah,
oh boy, and I think now
duo.
it is a single duo. 3 solo players and a duo around. Nounsy, one of those solos we were talking about. They've got a little bit of health to play with. They're fighting against the storm. It's Law and Jan-Man to keep on going. 2v1 here at this point. It's Parsik by themselves, just trying to hold on to anything that they can as Jan-Man and Law hold on to the low ground. The high ground is not going to be their advantage. With only 6 builds and 3 shields, I don't know how they're going to survive. Whoa!
Parsik dropping straight down, straight through, straight into the eyes of Jan-Man and Law there as they pick up the victory royale here in Game 2.
They do a great job at holding on to the advantage that they had. We said a numbers game was going to be vital for them. And as soon as they recognize that they've got that 2v1, what do? Wait until the battle comes to them. Always stay in the circle. Wait for those players that have to rush in to get in their face and wipe them out before you can even blink. Very well done to the team. That's probably going to shake up this leaderboard quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely here. I mean, not many individuals who are competitive or within the range of our top 8 actually managed to show up again. The closest, I believe, being Shades and Nounsy, very close at the end there before we did officially see Shades dropped in that moment.
Yeah, there was a couple of teams that did decently in that one, but the big difference, I would say, between that game and the last is a couple of teams, they started to frag on out. They did some incredible stuff, just getting elimination after elimination. One that I do want to highlight here was that we had another really aggressive game out of Zay and Dom. They find themselves into the top 10 with a decent amount of eliminations in their pocket, which means they're going to be able to keep themselves at least somewhere up on the leaderboard. But for our number 1 players there in Jan-Man and their teammate in Law, this is going to be a massive game for them overall. I'm excited. There's a lot of teams that feel like they finally established themselves like we were hoping for in game number 2.
Yeah, we haven't even brought it up, but Quinn finally kind of finding success, at least in the early game of this game, to pick up a few of those eliminations, show the aggression that we know Rich Homie Quinn is typically known for. Right now, granted, we kind of lost track of the rotation out there towards the end game, and as a result, didn't exactly get to see where Quinn fell, but still, I argue it's much better than anything in game 1.
Oh, I would agree with that 1000%. However, they might have done well, but look who came out on top. We've got our winners here of game number 2. That is going to be none other than Jan-Man and Law. They pick up 5 eliminations and 30 total points. This is the exact same thing we saw in game number 1. Wow, consistent a little bit here, hey?
We promised we change the screens, we edit, we do things, we change points. No, it's just 5 eliminations, the first win. Very common there in the end, and successful to say the least. right? And that's going to thrust them to the very top of the board there, at least within the top 5, I'd say.
Oh, yeah, I would agree with you on that one for sure. They're definitely going to pop themselves up somewhere into relevancy in this tournament. But unfortunately, they're not going to secure themselves anything yet. That is only game number 2 of 6. We've still got 4 to go. And, well, we're going to continue on with those games when we return. Quick little break, but when we come back, game number 3, the halfway point for the night, going to continue. Do not go anywhere. We'll see you in just a moment.
I can't say that. I'll get in trouble. There's one for each game, so teams this weekend, somebody's going to have to explain to TSA why they're coming home with an extra trophy. Fine. We're fine. This is going to be great. Why is everybody staring at me? I'm not even doing anything yet. Is it because I'm in a suit? It looks nice. It's new. I'm stressing. It's all right. We win these. We absolutely win these. I've never seen us lose these. I love him. I don't remember his name. What is going on, everybody? And oh, are we ready? I'll start over. Okay. What's going on, everybody? We are here at the Collegiate Esports Commissioners Cup 2022 in Atlanta, Georgia. The players are just now entering the arena for day 1. A lot of them had the opportunity to be here yesterday to get jerseys, to get familiar with the area, and to get to know one another. But today, the friendly gloves have to come off, and they are all here. Earlier, I was talking to these guys. This mannequin, when they didn't have anything else set up, I could see it from all the way down there, and I thought it was a person. And I stood there for like 5 minutes, and I was like, why is he standing like that? And I thought it was like a smooth criminal. I thought somebody was giving us like a Michael Jackson impression, and then it was a mannequin. I was really embarrassed to admit that. Oh my God, that's a lot of people. Hold on, let's go over this window. It just keeps going. There's so many people outside. There are so many people outside. We're gonna interview people when they come in. I don't really want to go outside. It looks like it's gonna rain, and this suit is new, so. Oh, there's Doc Haskell. Hi, Doc. How are you? He brings a full notebook with him and like writes notes down. It was pretty insane. He had it yesterday. He's gonna be coming through this metal detector right here. I don't know his name though, but I recognize his hair.
Jen.
You Jen? All right, we're gonna interview Jen, who's supporting Kennesaw. I'm gonna ask you like a couple of very simple questions. Okay. Are we ready? All right, great. College. I really like Georgia College's color scheme. It's just red, white, and blue, I think, but I think they did it in a really clever way. Mineral area wearing hoodies, even though it is 75 degrees outside here in Atlanta, Georgia. Absolute legends.
If only Nick could hear you. Nick, come back.
If he's over 100 feet away, he can't.
You were whispering something, and he started smiling. I'm like, are you whispering?
Oh yeah, because he's got his headphone in if we're close enough. But
Bless you.
Gesundheit. Gesundheit again. You're welcome. I'm gonna go find him. Oh, there he is. Oh my. Oh, okay. Real stuff is starting. Real stuff. Competitive integrity needs to be upheld. We gotta get out of here. Yeah, I don't want to get in trouble. I get really embarrassed when I get yelled at.
30 is
Okay. Wow, it's not 10:30 yet.
It's only barely 10.
Woo! All right, it's gonna be a long. Hey, what's up? Surprise interview. Join me over here. We have a cool backdrop. What are we here for?
Rocket League.
Awesome. I'm not going to ask what school you go to because unless you swapped hoodies, that seems pretty clear.
No, you know, I got my jersey on with my name on it.
Oh, you do? Show us your jersey. Look at John T. Turbo here.
Yeah,
That's not his name. I just keep calling him that.
Yeah.
His name is John, but
My name is John Turbesi.
Yeah,
That's my
not
name.
John T. Turbo.
Yeah, I get the message that I'm going to Nebraska where I met you.
Oh, that's so crazy. So context, if we're probably never going to use this, but we're going to talk about it. Turbo and I met at a LAN like over a year ago. That's so crazy. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Collegiate Esports Commissioners Cup. I am Seb Dillons, joined by a man I have interviewed probably well over 10 times. It's going to be my good friend Neb, here from Bay State Overwatch team. Neb looked at me before he started his last series, and he said, "We are not dropping a map for the rest of the day." And so far, he has lived up to that title. But Neb, is there anybody you're thinking, we've got to get them out of the way, we've got to take them down?
No.
No? Just looking at it, each fight's its own, every game, going into it, just taking it as it comes?
I have the confidence right now that we're not going to drop a single map.
I love Neb because not only is he confident, but he's correct. Bay State is one of the best Overwatch teams I've ever seen. So it's always good to hear. I love the confidence, and I love Bay State, so I hope they do a great job this weekend. So what qualifier, did you win a qualifier to get here?
At-large bid.
We're looking at Rocket League, we're thinking high odds, low odds, where do we think we're walking away?
I think pretty high. I think we're doing pretty good.
Is there anybody that you're looking at, you're like, please do not let us go up against them unless we absolutely have to?
I mean, really, everybody's good competition, so.
And sorry, what was your name?
Ethan.
Ethan from Mineral Area.
Yep.
Very exciting. Well, Ethan, good luck.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon. What kind of pass? A player pass?
Let me get you a lanyard.
No, you actually have to like tape it to your chest, like really awkwardly with masking tape. Okay. And it's gonna fall off. Yeah. It's gonna be uncomfortable, I promise. That's a guarantee. Okay, cut that, I'm gonna sneeze. Okay, good. I'm great, everything's good.
Who do we interview? Who should we interview?
I don't know, I'm just here. I need caffeine.
bit angry here. No, he's going to be able to. He's got 5 health to his name. He puts in a decent amount of damage, but a single shot. Welcome back to the EsportsU Campus Cup featuring Fortnite West Coast. Once again, my name is Oliver Bass, joined alongside by none other than my main man, Zephyr. And Zeph, we're 2 games into this one so far. We have found ourselves a pretty interesting start to the day, as what we expected to be our front runners have kind of teetered off a little bit. Some of the teams that did well on East Coast are doing well here today, but for the most part, this is kind of anybody's ball game as it stands.
And that seems to be a lot of the case, as West has, we'll say, an unfostered realm of talent in most cases when we tend to look towards this region, especially when we start talking about at that collegiate level. But let's take a look at the scoreboard and see how it fares after this game. Shades and Nounsey, as early as they did fall, now shoot up to the #1 position, tied with Zay and Dom.
Woo! I love that we're still getting these ties, that we're having such close contests at the top of this leaderboard here. And I would say that, you know, it goes to show that you've got a couple of different ways to try and make your way into that leaderboard, but it's pretty clear. If you're not fragging out on the night, you are not going to be able to get to the top here. 16 eliminations to our first place and 15 eliminations to the team tied with them. Goes to show you need to be able to hit your shots if you want to walk away with some money here tonight.
Yeah, no question, without a doubt there. But yeah, I mean, the minute we say that, though, we take a look at third place, 48 points between Zammy and Tox, and that theory doesn't particularly ring true, with only 6 eliminations total across the first 2 games there. So there's definitely a realm of some more pacifist action that has put some above the rest.
I would say that you can technically get away without having too many eliminations, but the unfortunate thing is that you want to try and shine, you got to do something special. And for Shades, Nounsey, Zay, and Dom, they've done some special things thus far. But now looking at the back 10 here for our top 20 as a total, we are seeing a couple more familiar faces start to pop on in here. Jonathan Plays and Fluger have found themselves into the top 11. And meanwhile, Tiny and Rich Homie Quinn are in 17th place. A team that I'm still not seeing, though, and I'd like to see them try and pop up a little bit more, is going to be Trey and Kona. I feel like they need to be able to establish themselves here in game 3. Otherwise, if they don't, they might just fall too far behind for the night.
Yeah, it's not even a question of finding pace at that point. It's literally math. The numbers just don't add up. Me calculator.
Oh, do you have a calculator? Oh,
okay. I got an iPhone.
I don't think that counts. I mean, like, technically...
Oh, it definitely counts!
Okay, it counts. Listen, it definitely counts. To every middle school math teacher I've ever had that told me, hey, you won't grow up with a calculator in your pocket, technology would like to differ. But at the same time, listen,
you sound like such a boomer.
We are boomers. This is a
No, I'm not!
Yeah, it's for... All right, well, let's find out. Let's find out. You know what, boomer ball or not, we're going to focus on the kids that are playing here today, as it is going to be Mellow and Frosty to kick this one off going into game number 3.
Question. Hold on. No, we're not going to talk about Fortnite.
Okay.
These are all collegiate players.
This is true.
Right? So we're the same age as them.
Zephyr, I'd like to point out that I am both older than you and also at an age where I would not be in college.
Oh my gosh! You're a boomer!
I am a boomer. Thank you for reminding me of that yet again. Alright, you know what? Let's focus on what's at hand right now. Frosty and Mellow taking on their opponents early here. It's Kev and G2 Noob getting into a bit of a battle for the Lumberyard. We've been asking for hot drops. You had to roast me at the one time we get an early battle.
I'm more than happy I did it. Frosty, Fly, and Mellow here now. A 2v1, potentially a 2v done there. Noob walks right in, and the taunt to follow. Ooh, You wanted action, Bass. Well, you got it.
I also wanted to not be roasted for being in my mid-20s, early 20s, if you will. But you know what? We'll take the little bit of both as it stands. Look like we have found ourselves a pretty solid start here as the fights have begun. More than just the battle we see here for the Lumberyard as two teams already, well, not two teams, two total teams worth of players go down. Now there's the second team. Quinn picks himself up in elimination, and we're down to 25 squads.
Now, eliminations early, while they may be exciting, don't prove much to me in terms of overall placement, right? Trust me, I'm all for the excitement and I love the action, but I need to see it transition. And that's the problem that a lot of these squads have been running into thus far. So I still wait with bated breath, right? And hey, you know, there you go.
Oh, come on, Quinn. I want to see you survive at least a little bit into a round, my guy. Twice in a row now, we see these unfortunate early exits. And speaking of early exits here, Talk's taken out. That's one of our front runners here on the night. So now it's up to Zambi by themselves to try and survive. And with like 20 health to their name, I don't know if that's going to happen. Fresco Bob is not going to easily let this player walk away. But they're not going to walk. They're going to sprint out, find a couple of bands, and that's going to most likely be enough for them to at least walk away from this fight.
Walk away,
Wait,
but the problem is this gives Patzer the opportunity potentially for that revive, and it does officially come through. Then the minute that Zambi makes themselves known, that'll be all but over.
Oh boy, that's our third place team already out of this game. We've, Zeph, I don't know what's going on at this point here. Every time I expect to see some sort of normalcy out of these games, some one of our front runners goes out early.
No, it's never normal. It's never consistent, and that's why we love it here. Fresco now, Patzer, they've got to be extremely careful. You've got Crest potentially looking for them, trying to spy out exactly where they went here. They're going to quickly sniff them out the minute they make this drop.
I do think that this was the team that was putting on shots initially and trying to third party while we were watching here in Sanctuary. What changed in between games, by the way? Because last time it took us like 2 zones to get down to 46 players. This time we're not even through or even just barely starting the first circle, and we find ourselves at this moment. So, all right, listen, I'm not going to complain. I'm absolutely happy to have some aggression here to start these games, but it is definitely a different vibe.
Yeah, no, it's definitely far more aggressive at this current point here, but at least it slows to a halt at this point. Crest and Davey have moved on. They no longer want to take a fight like that. Meanwhile, out by the Condo Canyon, looks like we've had quite the extended trade here. Parzik versus Ding. Still looking for the potential. They have hold high ground on both Shiesty and Parzik here, so could potentially look for that opening as the two, though, both continue to drop further and further.
They're trying to drop further down, but can they actually get into the middle of this fight here? Maybe not. Shiesty hearing some shots from distance, but they're in a pretty safe position inside the house, and they're just kind of retreating, trying to find a way away from this fight. Again, certain teams are opting to get into these fights early. Other ones are just trying to survive, and Shiesty, as they are backing up building on building, I don't know if they're necessarily trying to take this fight right now. They might not be able to survive this one, though. Ding going to continue to put on shots. Shiesty trying to get into the middle of this. Where is Shiesty's teammate, though? They need to get them some help.
Parzik is down there below, finally on equal footing here with Milk Shiesty, but in the midst of all that, they've lost what was a potential for high ground. Again, they had a split second there, but just as quickly as they had found it, Ding here, easy, they come up. Now they continue, we're back to square one. When we start, we came through here.
I want to see someone get this initial shot, though. It kind of feels like we're waiting for that first headshot, that first shotgun shot to nail their opponents, and that's where we'll start to see the aggression. Wait a minute. Parzik a quick 1-2 and takes out A1, and then Shiesty all of a sudden down as well. What just happened?
Shiesty, I don't even think it was a shot, just completely whiffed what was the fall there, and then Ding now is in the 1v1 scenario here, and Parzik's much better toe-to-toe, so that'll be the full wipe there. Parzik's got to be laughing, kicking himself as he drops down all the way to the low ground, says, hey, Shiesty, you want to help?
You got to feel for Shiesty in a situation like that where he's kind of sitting here going, yeah, no, I got that. And then all of a sudden, just all their health completely drained. Ooh, but look who's still around. This is actually probably one of their longer stays in these games thus far. Kona and Trey still remain here. And honestly, we've been hyping up Trey enough. I feel like we need to see Kona redeem himself here because Kona's been the one to go down first out of this duo almost every single time.
I feel like I correct me if I'm wrong, but I was following you incorrectly there. We've been hyping up Trey and Kona, this whole time. I think we need to stop, right? I think the less attention we pay to them, the more likely they see. Like you right there, you give them high praise, and then suddenly now Kona's sitting down 38 HP to work with. Bach and Broken coming up. I mean, it's tainted. Your words are tainted.
I didn't know
You're
I
a
could cast
burden
their curse.
upon men.
I didn't know I could cast their curse in Fortnite this easily. Like, usually for my other titles that I've worked on, I've had to cast their curse occasionally, but in Fortnite, in a big battle royale like this, I thought I'd be able to avoid it. Apparently not. Kona and Trey, though, they're going to avoid this fight altogether. It seems like Sanctuary is going to be their new home as they will continue to move further down south and towards the zone. Are they going to be able to avoid this fight? It does look like Bach and Broken are aware of where they are, or maybe not. Hold on. It's the orange team on the map that I think is chasing them.
Bach and Broken there, still going to be the ones that are chasing, coming through from that beach, but definitely taking a bit more of an extended rotation. They're not directly following them, just going up along the coast, so it's likely that we won't see them reunite anytime soon. Meanwhile, Zap Games here, taking pressure from the side, down to no shield available. Going to have to take the time to get the full heal back, but Caps definitely putting down damage where they can.
And they're going to use all of their armored walls to try and get that quick refresh. Good idea. A Sandstorm Snake doesn't seem to be trying to shy away from this fight, but they're still going to get involved here. A couple of shots on. It's going to make Baz down to some low health, but Snake all of a sudden goes to low health too. Trades of shots on either side. Who's coming out on top? Sap trying to find some more shots. Cannot finish them off, and there's the chug. That's going to be enough to get them a quick refresh, but it'll also give enough time for Baz to take the high ground.
Well, here's for Sap Games, this potential opportunity for them to find safety, but hasn't quite set it up for themselves as of yet. There they go, just kind of building their way through, but it's still kind of on equal footing of Carp and Snake here.
Oh boy, and now can they find themselves any sort of damage? It kind of feels like both of these teams get to the refresh, try and restart their fight, but Sap Games and Baz High Ground seem to be the more eager, but it's going to come back to bite them. Sap a quick 1-2, drained of all of their health, but so is Sandstorm Snake. They're both down to green shield here, or green health as a total here, so there's still technically a chance if Baz can get one good shotgun shot, he can finish off one of the players and then focus on number 2. Instead, he's retreating backwards, trying to find a little bit of build. Where's the shot? Baz, you got a shotgun on you. You need to hit one of these shots.
But here's the problem. It's beginning too late. They've already taken the time to go for the full refresh, and at this point, Baz just has to drive away sky high.
Oh, boy. This is unfortunate for Baz. They needed to try and find themselves a solid start, and they do not do so. They do not get any of those eliminations, have to dip on out and try to live to see another day. The battle for Sanctuary, though, continues to rage on here, as Bob and Patzer are not the only team here. It does look like Trey and Kona have dipped on out and taken Bach and Broken with them, but there's still another team that starts to lurk into Sanctuary there. Bottom left of the map, you can see the yellow team there, as well as another team on the edge of the circle. So for Patzer and Bob, whether they like it or not, there is a fight that's about to come to them, and here it starts. Finally, the battle for Sanctuary has arrived.
It's definitely not the battle for Sanctuary, but it's definitely going to be the battle coming out of it. At this point here, Bob needs to start making their way down towards that circle's edge here, and they've taken too much time in Sanctuary. We started the game watching them here, and they've still just retained this position all game long, and that might actually come back to bite them here as we check in with Cloud and Vic Zam. They're in the best possible position to potentially punish them as they crest this ridge.
They're going to try and do so. A couple of teams starting to make their way into the edge of the circle, or really, I would say make their way into the center of the circle. You know what I'm realizing right here and now that kind of surprised me, Zeph? This is zone number 2 that's closing right here. We're down to 40 players, and we only have gone through a single zone. Let's make it 2 and figure out where the third one's going to drop us, as it looks like it's going a bit further south. Let's focus on the teams that are playing for at least right now. Patzer and their duo and Bob going to be taking on Viz and Cloud. Honestly, I kind of want to see this one happen. I want to see this battle. No more of this, like, try and shy away from... No, Patzer, come on! Keep on engaging, please!
I will say there was the prime moment for Cloud to pull that one out of the woodwork. You had that ample opportunity where you have both Fresco and Patzer finding themselves right onto the roadway. They're set up there well beforehand, and they just don't do it. Meanwhile, from the bushes, Tiny, we've been waiting for this one all day long here. Now shredding through these little builds that are available with the utilization of the SMG here. When they're looking for one more, but they haven't found any damage.
I honestly thought that we were about to see both of those teams just kind of camp in bushes for a second until eventually one of them just surprises with a quick 1-2 and eliminates them in the blink of an eye. Instead, we'll get a proper battle here between Patzer and their opponents, but they're going to need to actually make some sort of move. It looks like Patzer and Bob are trying to play this one a bit patiently while Tiny and Quinn are about as aggressive as ever. Did they lose track of them here? Because it's feeling like they did. They're looking around for these guys with the builds, and oh, well, that might just be able to point them out a little bit there. It does look like a quick move out of Bob is going to be enough to make a little bit of attention. And yeah, Tiny and Quinn, they're not going anywhere until they find these elims.
Well, it was definitely an attempt at getting kind of the surprise off-the-cuff start to a fight here, but very quickly do Patzer and Bob find the response of their own. Thing is, Storm is the problem now. You have to be making your way even further south, so what could have been is no longer available.
They're both going to just shy away from this fight. Probably, you know, honestly, it's the right move. Even if it is the move that I disapprove of, just because I like to see people shoot their guns at each other and be fun to watch. Yeah, it's not going to be what we're hoping
old
for.
Man.
Okay, you know what? No. We're not having any of this here now, all right? Listen, we're going to have to survive with the boomer ball for now, all right? You've been partnered with me for the day, Zeph. You've got to stick with it.
The boomer ball?
Yes.
What does that mean? Are we dancing? What's
I
a
don't
ball?
You know, all right. You know what, Zeph? I'm going to let you take this one from here on out. Let's see what you got as Cloud starts to get approached.
Please tell me, do I get to solo cast? Because I used to do it for Team Liquid. And by that, I meant my co-caster would never show up, so I'd have to go solo cast Fortnite.
I'm not really trying to let you solo cast Fortnite. The audience probably wouldn't be happy if that happened. I'm going to be honest with you, but you know, that's what it is. It's all right.
See, you don't feed him his kill or his eliminations, and he gets a little cranky.
It's past my bedtime at this point here. 7:30 is too late for this old man, unfortunately, here. The reality is, though, it is only early into the action here. We're getting through the third zone with 39 players remaining, and it looks like Quinn and Tiny are not going to get through uncontested. Finally, Vic and Cloud are going to get the fight that they probably were not looking for.
Well, they had their opportunity. We talked about this a long time ago, and now they're going to pay the price. Cloud fully eliminated. It's actually a award to Fluger there as finally they break on through the other side as Tiny wipes Vic out. It's the first set of eliminations for this squad to work with, but they're down in that valley.
Yeah, I would say that this is going to be a pretty good game for Quinn and for Tiny here. It feels like they have finally found that momentum they were looking for, finally found the confidence that they needed to be charging into other players' builds and really take it to them. That being said, it doesn't look like they're the only team that's starting to get aggressive here. Patzer and Bob looking for a little bit of an interesting angle here on Chonker Speedway. I do like that we're getting a battle in the desert here because the changes in terms of verticality for certain of these teams is going to make it so interesting late game.
I love the utilization of the I took geography, but my skills are not adept. That's a lie. I was enrolled in the class. I never went to it. But I passed. So big rocks, fantastic. Big love for them.
I like these. These are definitely not called boulders. Is this a plateau? Is that the best way to put? I don't think it's a plateau.
I don't know if it's a plateau. I was going to say plateau, but I believe there is a specific formation here that they are called
desert plateau.
No.
Dang. Oh, our producer has let us know that they are called rocks, apparently. So, good to know. You know what? We'll focus on the rocks for right now, but what we'll really focus on is the... hold on. Do you have something to counter the rocks?
I was going to say, when your producer's so annoyed, he just is like, they're rocks, guys. Shut up.
Well, at this point here, I do think that someone's going to have to take advantage of the high ground that the rocks provide them here. Jonathan Plays and Fluger apparently not going to be that team as one of them is no longer in this lobby. Wait a minute. No, Jonathan Plays does. He's only got about 10 health to his name, though. Fluger going to have to try and find some safety so that Jonathan can heal on up.
definitely have the potential to make those heals happen, especially with that med miss finally coming through there. But it's Fluger with the frags there. Fresco Bob eliminated as to give him the opportunity to get something to work with, and right on the corner of the storm there, will he find a safety? Meanwhile, Fluger's just jumping around, pulling everything out of the woodwork to get the job done.
Lizard trying to get something done here as well, as we find ourselves with the official first half and half of this game. Zone number 5 has arrived, and it's going to be at the south of Chonker Speedway. So we're going to stay in the POI for this one. Interestingly enough, we're not going to actually go away from the natural builds that have spawned here on the map. And it, again, is going to make the verticality of this game so much more interesting. You know what else makes it interesting? When you get a knock on RH Quinn. Quinn going to have to try and survive here, and I don't think he's going to. Kangaroo finishes off the Elim, and now all of a sudden for his teammate in Tiny, he's going to have to solo march the rest of this one.
I mean, you put a lizard and a kangaroo in a bit of a desert, it feels like home there. Quinn officially eliminated. They can potentially sniff out. No, it's going to be Shiesty who picks up the final elimination there onto Tiny. So that'll be it for that duo. And they're down in 34th Bass. That is nothing to work with. Once again, early elims, they just aren't able to convert that to a strong end game position.
Unfortunately not. And it's not that they didn't even have, like, you know, a decently long game.
No.
They get to 17th. That is barely any. I don't even know if you're getting points for 17th. I'd have to look back at the point total here for the day and understand top 17. 5 points. That is not enough when first place is walking away with almost 30 every time. And well, speaking of first place there, Shiesty going to continue to try and charge on through there as they take out Jonathan Plays. We knew it was going to be difficult for Jonathan Plays and Fluger, but again, one of our top teams here today that we were expecting to do well has not performed thus far. Similarly, the two players we've got on screen in Kona and Trey, that has to be a big game for them. Has to.
I'm not letting you say their names out. So that was your last opportunity until they pick up the dub.
Oh, okay, all right. I gotta. So for 2 a.m. and CLG here, excuse me.
Yeah, let's go.
Oh no, and Fluger.
Oh no.
Another
well,
player.
It is at the hand of Nounsies here, and that is your top contender for this lobby. So it is to be expected, and we know for a fact that Fluger and Jonathan were just crushed right up against the side of that rock there. No high ground to work with, trying to clean themselves through, and that's not going to last. It gives them some time to reset, but not make pushes. So for Shades and Nounsie, they have the prime position. That'll be it for Patzer. A nice beam found. The SMG now shredding below. Looks like, yeah, I was about to say, take towards the rift, look for the relocation.
I think the entire lobby just went for the relocation through the rift here. Look how many players are in the sky. I think there's more players in the sky than there are on the ground here. Bakken Broken and War and Jack, I think, like the only one. You can see Gingy, I think, on the side might be as well. Same with our players who will not be named, as well as Obama and Donald Trump, but not going to be enough as everybody descends from the heavens and drops upon everybody. We're about to have a massive fight here in the Speedway.
Well, I'll tell you what, Broken and Bach, they like playing in the mud, potentially playing in the sand. It's going to depend on who falls next to them here. They find their way up towards a bit of more of a middling tarp as they continue to provide shots on the backside as all these other squads find their rotations, but no one, not a single person takes their damage. And look at this, we're going to be going back the opposite direction now.
We're going to be heading all the way west here.
They went there.
I mean, hey, listen, man, directions are hard at this point. You know what's even harder? Apparently surviving if you are Bach. One of our top players here tonight is going to find an early exit in 15th place. We're down to zone number 7, and we've still got about 30 players here in this lobby.
Tell you what, though, Broken is still going strong. They're playing right up against the edge. Donald Trump, Barack Obama, some of our fearless leaders here amongst the rest. They're going to be defending the high ground for now. We've seen many squads try to pull this one off and look for a defensive position. Be careful of going for such extended, very thin spread like that on your builds. But hey, they're making it work, and Milk Shiesty might be the one who goes down as raw. It's Broken! Broken finds the drop on Shiesty. He gets revenge!
Where on earth did Broken even come from? And, well, now that they're officially out of this lobby, I do have to mention it. Kona and Trey get another early exit in 15th place.
Dang.
This team just can't seem to survive the long haul. In one-on-one engagements, they've been doing fantastic, but as soon as they get into the middle of the fray, they just can't seem to survive.
We'll have to see as we make our way towards the next here. Hyper-awareness will fall, but this is a problem. Barack Obama, Trump, they've lost their high ground. They've lost their pulls. They've lost their leads, but as quickly as they do, they find their way back up. But looks like they say no thanks. Back to it's a bit more of a middling position here to take a bit of a beam in response.
I feel like they're going to get knocked out of the sky pretty quickly here. The high ground has been so hotly contested every single time. No one wants to make a chance or make a challenge at them here. I feel like it's going to have to be Carp if anyone's going to do it. They can absolutely get dropped down a layer, but no one wants to take this engagement here. They don't have a lot of builds to play with, and they've got 0 heals to play with. So as soon as they do drop, they're exposing themselves pretty heavily, and I think that they might overexpose if Barack wants to stay there. For right now, they'll just continue to rain fire from the upward trajectory, but not really going to matter much. We're down to 11 squads here, or 11 duos here, and no one really making too bold of a move thus far.
No, Trump and Barack Obama playing it a little bit conservative here, which I honestly find is extremely risky at this point here, but thankfully for them, the storm is pulling back.
Boy. Yep.
That's the problem, though. There we go. I was about to say, there's that risk we talked about. Trump caught out from below, will be brought all the way down, falls in the hands of Broken, but will be quickly cleaned up. That takes us down to our 8 squads remaining. Hey, but I'll say this, Barack Obama still going strong.
Yeah, he was indeed, and I gotta say, Broken, that was some of, and I say this in the most positive way ever, that was so incredibly petty. He drops him down, takes him out in a box, and basically that's all he does. Immediately eliminated by Tracy. He's doing that just to disrupt the duo, and well, it worked out. Barack Obama also out of this game. So, hey, listen, Broken, if you can't walk away with a win, you can walk away being a thorn in the side of other players, and you did exactly that.
Surprisingly, Lizard Kangaroo still going strong, but they're nothing in the face of Flurry and Tracy here. Shot after shot, kill after kill. 1, 2, 3, 4, and plenty more as Tracy and Flurry wipe Cruz. Sadly, though, this does bring it down to just Tracy to pull this one off.
Oh boy, we're getting down to yet another one of these scenarios where having your duo is going to be so incredibly valuable. 3 squads remain, only 2 of them, well, I was going to say are full duos, but it does look like it's 2 full duos against each other, only for a moment though. All of a sudden, Carp goes down to the storm, and Crest and Davey pick up game number 3.
Creston Davey there, playing through the low ground of all places there, and something that I don't think we saw, or at least were able to talk about there. At the very end, Storm actually begins to pull away from any one of the established areas. And as a result, you're going towards a new location with little to no builds that's also incredibly low in terms of geographical location. As a result, actually going for that low ground had much more of an advantage as everyone was forced to drop out of their tarps.
It's pretty impressive to see how teams can make those adjustments, and every once in a while it's the Storm giving you the advantage, every once in a while it's you recognizing that the Storm is pulling a certain way and starting to move with it correctly. I do agree with you. I think recognizing the fact that the high ground was highly contested, that there was no way you were going to be able to hold on to it, and just going down in the dirt, getting ready for that low ground, fantastically well done. An incredible game out of our winners there. My hat's off to them.
Yeah, absolutely. A big success found here from Davey and Crest. And finally, our board looking a little bit different. 6 eliminations, now a total score of 31. More than surely going to thrust them upon our leaderboard. But I don't want to count out some other names here. You saw the likes of Lizard and Kangaroo perform early there. But more importantly, I'm dropping. But what was Tracy? A phenomenal pickup of eliminations all throughout the game, and even a nice position towards the end, at least within that top kind of 6th range.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, is that at this point, like we said before, it's about establishing yourself for having the chance to improve enough on the back half of the night to get yourself into the money. For certain teams that we've been talking about, it doesn't really look like they're going to have much of a chance here, but who knows? We're only halfway through the night. We still got another 3 games to go. So we're going to take a quick break. Actually, a little bit of an extended break, if you will, at this point here. But when we return, games 4, 5, and 6 for the night to end it off and crown our champions here on the West Coast. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Collegiate Esport Commissioners Cup 2022. Once again, I'm still Septulence, but this time I am joined by the CEO of New Street, Eric, who's going to get to tell us about NFTs, which I'm really excited because I told you this before the interview. I know nothing. I'm like a newborn baby about this.
Yeah.
So I would love to hear kind of about what you do, and then we can talk a little bit more about the esports side of things.
Yeah, so absolutely. We'll get into the NFT side in a second. But just to quickly explain what I do.
Yeah, of course.
Eric Witchen, thank you for the intro. CEO of New Street. And New Street is a media and analytics platform for collectors. So you can think about it as like the world of collectibles has grown significantly over the last 5 to 10 years. And what's happened is we've had a lot of marketplaces evolve. So places that are going to sell you things. Like if I want to buy a pair of sneakers, I have to go to no less than 10 to 12 websites in order to figure out the best price. So you know, the value proposition for us starts with, you know, as a collector, where can I buy these things on the internet and where can I get the best deal possible? And then furthermore, we add media and insights, you know, sort of like a financial technology company would do, but around things that I personally care about a lot more than stocks.
Right.
So that's us.
Absolutely. So looking at it, you know, NFTs being one thing, esports being the other.
Yeah.
Where's the link?
Yeah.
Where's the connection there?
So first off, let's demystify NFTs a little bit.
Oh yes, please.
So first of all, an NFT is the first time in human history that we've been able to prove that something digital is scarce.
Yeah.
You need to take that in for a second. So basically, you know, we've been creating things on the internet and with digital art and otherwise for many, many years. We're buying in-game items, we're doing a bunch of things, and we've been taught that because you can copy and paste those things, they have no value, right? Enter the blockchain, and the blockchain allows us to be able to prove that something digital is truly owned by one particular person.
Sure.
So you can copy and paste that thing as many times as you want,
is it
but
like
you
a
don't own it.
certificate then?
It's absolutely like a certificate of authenticity, certificate of ownership that could represent a digital asset or a physical asset just as equally.
Right.
There are people playing with this in real estate markets. I mean, so you know, collectibles, you know, is just one of the areas that this thing is interesting in. But in terms of esports, I think it connects very much to. You know, when you think about all the work that you do as a gamer in these ecosystems, what happens if one day this ecosystem, this company that controls this ecosystem no longer exists? All your in-game assets and all the things that you've worked so hard no longer exist too. And so, of course, you know, the primary use case of these assets in ecosystem are going to be within the ecosystem, maybe forever. But it'd be really nice to be able to pull them out of the ecosystem, own them separately, and so if those companies are foregone, you know, go by the wayside someday, you still have these things to say, hey, I used to play this game, it was a lot of fun, and so that's really where I think the value comes in.
Okay, so that's
preservation of value, so to speak.
Yeah, so that's a great kind of segue into the other part. You've got all these positives, so people that are looking at it, they're kind of shaking their head a little bit. They're like, oh, this is going to be damaging, this can be harmful.
Of course.
What is kind of the counterpoint to that, I guess?
Of course. The counterpoint is that I think the misperception is these NFT games are coming to take gaming away from gamers, or the fun out of games. And the fact of the matter is that's like a lot of the current NFT gaming is more of a replacement for casino gambling than it is for anything else.
Sure.
I mean, these are not meant to be competitive with the games that you guys are playing here, and shouldn't be seen as such. So it's almost like two completely different industries.
Okay.
You know, the graphic engines and all the things that are behind the scenes on these things, they're just not there yet. I mean, if you look at you know, it looks like some of these look like Minecraft 10 years ago.
Right.
But that being said, really, it's the connectivity to economics, to the rest of the web and whatnot that makes a lot of these things really more interesting.
Sure.
And those things haven't even happened yet.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So it's to kind of pull us away from the esport back to the NFT kind of topic. And you and I did discuss this a little bit before the interview, is people are often talking about how NFTs can be damaging or harmful to kind of the real world, literal environment, the environment
Definitely.
itself. So what is kind of, for somebody, you know, compared to me who knows nothing, someone who actually knows what's up with NFTs, what's the stance on that?
Yeah, so absolutely. So it's one of the most strongest negatives about NFTs right now is the carbon footprint that these blockchains leave. And just to get not too technical, but just to talk really quickly through it, there's these things that essentially are used to confirm transactions. It's called a consensus mechanism.
Okay.
Essentially, it's how do you prove that the ledger is accurate?
That it happened,
right? And so Bitcoin and Ethereum currently use this thing called proof of work.
Okay.
And that uses a lot of energy, tons of energy. I mean, energy of small countries. So I do agree that on a per user basis, the electricity that's being used right now by the network is absolutely higher than it should be. That being said, Ethereum in particular is going through a change this year that's going to reduce the emissions by something like 99.5%.
Wow.
So it's really like, it's kind of like one of those things that is a current problem, but that problem gets solved really quickly.
Right.
And I sometimes question the areas that these narratives come from. Because when you think about it, right, like negative narratives tend to come from industries that don't want something to succeed. And you look at the things like crypto industries or whatnot. And there's a lot of industries that stand to lose if crypto wins. So I'll just leave it at that. But there's a lot of false narratives being perpetuated, especially around the environment. And the fact of the matter is whereas they are currently concerns, they very quickly become non-concerns.
Sure.
And a lot of actually the current blockchains that are being used actually already uses consensus mechanism.
Okay.
So really take very, very, very little power.
Yeah, so I guess the question is, are you afraid that even after they fix this, the 99% goes on,
Sure.
Are you afraid that's going to damage the longevity of this idea, of this concept?
I think that it has the potential to, right?
Sure.
Because we're still in the early adoption phase.
Right.
And so anytime you get a narrative as strong, especially environmental ones, which I am very attuned with, environmental concerns, it alienates a large group of people. So there are groups of people, that like lobbyists for all intents and purposes that are taking the counterpoint and are essentially lobbying for the crypto industry. So lobbyists everywhere, basically.
Yeah, and I guess, so we've covered the NFT portion, we've covered a little bit of the gamer portion, but a gamer watching this, somebody gaming.
Absolutely.
Where's the benefit for them? What's the benefit of kind of the gaming NFT?
Absolutely. So I would say right now, very little. I'll be honest with you.
Sure.
But it's coming. And where it's coming is in the ability to own these in-game items and digital objects that you worked so hard to collect, that commemorate things that you've done, things that you've won. It connects to a lot of different things, particular in esports, but also just in everyday life.
Yeah.
Ticketing for events is there's a lot of ticketing vendors that are moving to this as some way to keep these tickets immortalized in your wallet forever. Once in a while I'll find a little piece of paper that reminds me that I went to a concert in 1987, but generally speaking, that I don't find those that often.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a lot of really cool things, and I think that a lot of people get sort of, any nascent industry is going to have cash grabs and scams.
Right.
The internet had that in '99 and 2000 as well, but here we are. So, that's kind of how I think about things.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
I know that I have learned a lot. I hope people watching have learned a lot as well, but I really appreciate all that.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Welcome back here to the EsportsU channel. This is the Campus Cup featuring Fortnite. This is the West Coast Finals, and this is Oliver Bass, otherwise known as Bass in the Past, joined alongside by none other than Zephyr. Zeph, we're halfway through the night, my friend. We have gotten ourselves down to game number 4 here, and we have got quite a spicy leaderboard at that. Came into this night expecting a couple of our frontrunners from other events to do well, and thus far they have, let's say, underperformed, if you will.
I think in terms of overall scoring, which you're about to see here, yes, they haven't found their way towards the top of our leaderboard at all. I mean, they're literally nowhere to be seen. The only one that has stayed consistent, quite literally in 5th the entirety of tonight, has been Bach and Broken. But big entities or names like, Kona, like Fluger, they haven't been able to just net themselves at least the certainty of a win there in the long haul.
And I think the big issue that we're seeing with these teams is that they're just kind of going for risky plays. And right now, the risk isn't really working out for them. You got to look for consistency. You have to have the ability to find that balance between being able to frag out and being able to make it into the late game and the long haul here. You look at the teams up top, there are a plethora of different ways to do so. 23 eliminations, 56 points, put Zay and Dom far above the rest, 8 points above second place. But at the same time, you look a little bit further down, 8 eliminations, 60 placement point for Creston Davey, putting them just about 11 points behind first. Goes to show, you can make it up to the top leaderboard in a plethora of ways, but you need to make sure you at least get decently far into these rounds.
Yeah, the problem that we're seeing right now, and it goes to show that they are a very skilled set of players, is that in these early games, they're taking these massive fights that do inevitably end up in them getting at least the awarded 2, eliminations. But the problem is that's 2 points. That's nothing in the grand scheme of what you need in terms of the leaderboard overall. And as a result, they either lack the resources, don't find themselves in the prime position for storms, 5 through 9, or they try to take another fight going into, say, storm 3, 4, 5, and they aren't as lucky due to their early participation. You tell me with complete certainty that you've seen Zaydom, Melks or Parzik, Crest Davy, you see them taking early Storm 1 fights.
Not too much, I would say.
Not normally.
Well, let's see if they can maybe try and switch this one up here, as this is the top 10 for right now, but we still got a whole lot of teams left on this leaderboard here who have done well thus far, but need to try and, I would say, improve themselves a little bit here. We'll take a look at the back half of our top 20 here as we get 11 through 20, and this is where some of the more familiar names start to pop on up. You can see Jonathan plays in Fluger in 13th place, Tiny and Rich Homie Quinn in 15th place. The team that's not on here that surprised me the most, though, again, it's got to be in Trey and Kona. Currently, according to our leaderboard, they're in 24th place with only a total of 11 points. They're 70 points behind first.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but are most of those points accumulated from their eliminations?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. There you go. At the end of the day, it seems like there seems to be a heavy hand in terms of what some of these squads are looking to come out and do. And I understand it. You find yourself an early drop. You're not going to want to leave or give that one up. And as a result, you end up taking a fight. But we tend to see them stick too much to this concept, right? When there's so much further planning that is absolutely necessary, especially when you want to put yourself up on the leaderboard. Now, the real problem is you give me someone who's sitting with 11 points in 24th place and you say, well, you've got 3 games left. It's very likely that you do not make it into the realm of a competitive prizing at this point. It is too late.
Unfortunately, I'd have to agree with you 1,000%. The only way that you can have games like that, and I've seen competitions in Fortnite similar to this, is when you see those front runners go down off rip, basically. They need to drop and immediately get contested.
Again.
It's just not really going to happen, though. That's the issue.
Yeah, you need Oaksy here to potentially throw a position or two.
Just maybe, just maybe. For right now, though, there are a couple of teams that I think are going to continually find some consistent placements and find themselves within that top 10 every single round. Again, our front runners on the day, Zay and Dom, 2nd place, 8th place, 3rd place. They've yet to get a win, but what they have yet to get is a drop outside of the top 10. So, gonna have to see as we hop onto the battle bus here and get into our 4th game of the night. This could be a spicy one. This feels like make or break for a lot of our teams.
Yeah, without a doubt, if you're not finding success, at least in top 10, I don't even care about the eliminations that you find, the early fights that you're able to source out. If you're not able to put a placement now, job's done. I mean, compete through it, go up, play against the rest, but your journey and towards, you know, what truly matters at the end of the day. I believe the 3,000 that are available going into this, I mean, that's over.
Yeah, unfortunately for a lot of these teams, it may be the beginning of the end. But you know what? Here's the good thing about the beginning of the end. It means that everybody starts to play a little bit more risky. Trey, you're not the player I want to try and play risky here. My friend already getting eliminated.
Leaving just Kona left to defend here at this current point. You can see him rounding the corner. He doesn't even have a build scope with that this moment. We're talking right off the cup before things even begin to break down. Vibing Yeri trying to make their way inside. This is a 2v1 advantage.
It's not only a 2v1 advantage, but I don't even know if Kona has a weapon to play with right now. I mean, Yari barely has a weapon to play with as well. He's got a pistol and a sniper, which you're not really going to be able to do all too much with. But it doesn't necessarily matter if you've got a teammate to work with you here, and that teammate is indeed going to pincer and take out Kona, our 2nd team, or excuse me, 3rd team eliminated from this lobby. And I don't know what else to say. Kona and Trey have been running into issue after issue tonight.
Might have to pull themselves back to the drawing board here, not just for games 5 and 6, but potentially further, as it just seems to be a bit of a rut tonight. For Shiesty and Parzik here, they're not in the best situation either. You've got Shiesty already down here now out to our 1v1 scenario. Ding is looking far more worse for wear, and with a drop like that, that takes us down to our 4th squad eliminated.
Okay, so maybe we were a little bit wrong. We were talking about, you know, trying to make sure you play for the long haul here in game number 4 to really establish yourself for the later parts of the night. No, apparently not. Everybody's just going to get aggressive and get in the face of each other. And, again, I am not going to be opposed to it, especially when a team like Frosty and Mellow are getting contested off rip here in Logjam Lumberyard. But who's going to be the ones that are going to contest them here? I do wonder. I saw someone in the wings, but who is it?
Frosty and Mellow with their potential provider. I love the utilization of the grapple there to get themselves at least chug the spray for now. Gives them the reset to potentially find themselves outside. Maybe compete back against, Patzer and Brett here.
That's who we've got underneath them right now. Or I guess technically on top. Patzer got the high ground, just kind of waiting around, trying to see if he can get a quick shot on in. He's be able to do exactly that. No, not quite. I think this is going to be a little bit more of an elongated fight. Both of these teams are pretty experienced in these sort of early battles, so they know they do not want to engage too quickly.
No, not find themselves into a jam here. As a result, you can even see Patzer taking a step back to get at least a bit of a lay of the land before they may aggress.
They're trying their best, and it does look like the shots are starting to fire off. Hold on, what on earth? All of a sudden, bailout Brett goes down in the blink of an eye, and now it's up to Patzer by their lonesome to try and recover. They're not even going to. They're going to dip on out. Shots fired at them. They're just going to try and dodge all of them, but they're actually getting hit. It's not just the vehicle that's getting attacked, but they are as well, down to 40 shields, and they just got to dip on out. Mellow and Frosty going to have to be content with this single elimination they find.
Well, thankfully, Patzer makes their way out, but that won't last for long. Meanwhile, Quinn and Tiny, we've been watching them all series long here, running right up against Kangaroo and Fro. Lizard, they had a great performance outside of Game 3 here, extended themselves. What could have been their potential victory before they were dropped, I believe, in what was 4th place.
You gotta imagine that this is gonna be a big game for both of the teams that we're looking at right now. For Quinn, it's a chance to try and reestablish themselves, get out of that top 20 and into the top 10. And for Lizard and their teammate, it's a chance to really establish themselves here for the back half of the night. Again, we're only halfway through our games. This is game number 4 of 6. So we've got a long night ahead of us here. We are not even relatively close to the end. For Tiny and for Quinn, it could be the end if they do not find themselves a solid round number 4. Thus far, they do seem to be staying a little bit more aggressive than their usual ways, which, honestly, I kind of like that. For a team like Tiny and Quinn, who we know in most scenarios in this lobby should be able to 2-on-2 their opponents, they need to start establishing that they can do that and putting that fear into every team that they approach.
Well, here's the thing. They've been able to consistently do that within Storm's 1v2.
Uh-oh.
Maybe not this time around. Tiny gets a little bit too far forward and is quickly punished by Lizard and Kangaroo. This brings it down to just Quinn to potentially pull this one off. But look at who's coming through from the side here. Balk coming through on the upper end. This is going to provide a thorn on everyone's side. Very quickly do we see Lizard and Kangaroo get out of there.
Honestly, probably the right move. They know that they're going to have other players approaching them, and when Quinn's still trapped in the tarps, they're just going to let Quinn be that bait. They're going to allow him to take all the attention, and hopefully that'll be enough for him to get shot out of the air. But hold on, wait a minute. We have yet another challenger approaching here. Bulk and Capodonna, not the only ones that have started to make their way into the crossroads, and I can't believe this. I think that Quinn's going to get away with this.
Quinn gets away with it just simply due to the fact that they think they have lost anyone who is already within that fight. So they say, okay, job's done. Everyone has made their rotation. It's time for us to do the same. They have no idea there's another squad on the other side potentially available for the taking. But hey, I'm okay with the rotation. I'm all right with the potential play for a zone at this current point. If there's no reason to take the fight and your job was just to come in third party to begin with, well, that's already said and done.
Honestly, Quinn's got to be jumping for joy right now, and considering I just saw a player pop back up into the feed there, we're at 41, we're at 40. I think Quinn might have gotten the revive off that he was hoping for. That is a massive chance for Quinn. Sometimes it just goes to show you, you really do need to play passively and pick your fight so particularly as well. It's a good job out of Quinn, but it's not the end of his job quite yet, and it's not the end for Bulk and Capodonna. They might have avoided that one fight, but it looks like another one is right around the corner.
Right, they follow through on him where they saw the rotations end up, and for Lizard and Kangaroo, they were right there. Now, for Bulk and Capodonna, they actually pull back towards this high ground. This is actually a huge separation. Capodonna is still all the way over there now looking at the map, and as a result, if either one of these two fall, that's said and done. Okay.
What are they doing? Come on, Bulk. Take the charge. I know that you have the option.
Where do you go into that?
So here's the thing. I don't know if you know this, Zeph, but the crazy thing about the cannons, you can use yourself as a human cannonball, which can quite literally break through structures. He breaks down every single structure here. All of a sudden, it becomes a complete firefight amongst every single one of the teams in these builds. So I'd like to see that. I'd absolutely like to see shots exchanged from everybody. But
chaos,
right now,
I know.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, I thrive in the chaos. That's what I like to see.
Well, they can make chaos happen without providing the risk of themselves being the ammunition. They've got plenty to spare on the AR here. For King Balk, they finally make their way forward. That actually, with the break, forces the drop there of Lizard. They can see Kangaroo looking to escape on their own, actually taking away, what was that taxi, but through the window.
Oh boy, beep beep and goodbye. That's going to be enough for Bulk to pick up their first elimination of this game. And Capodonna, they're hunting for one as well. Crazy to think we've seen two teams drop and we're still not done with the battle for... This isn't even a POI. This is just a random house in the middle of this field, and everybody apparently wants to take it.
Another to fall there, started with Valk, finished with Capodonna sliding in there. And Noble Gases also is dropped once again. King Valk extending most of the power there. And you can see already more are coming through. Shades and Nounsy. These are our top contenders who've been well above the rest in terms of the lobby for quite some time now.
They've been above everybody at this point here. It really does feel like this team has been playing so incredibly precisely, taking the risk of every single one of these battles and really calculating that to a T. Capodonna and Bulk are doing the same right now. They're recognizing that there's a team in front of them, and although they can get a little bit, hungry for those eliminations, should they do exactly that considering the amount of teams around them? I think they're going to opt not to here. Capodonna going to back on off, try and find Bulk, and I think they're going to exit out of this fight before it gets too hairy.
they've been more than successful here, able to start off the fight, like you said, albeit a little more safe, and then transition that into them being the ones to find the majority of those kills. With Sap in high ground, though, Sap and Baz, my apologies, are still chasing through. There is a vehicle here if they actually want to literally follow through with the same level of speed.
I'd love to see a little bit of, you know, a quick highway chase, if you will. Two teams just kind of shooting at each other while they drive next to each other would be fantastic. But honestly, the feeling we're more going to see battles here in the builds. And, well, maybe some battles for the sky as well. Broken taking some shots at one of the players flying through the airspace. And they will crack one of them there. Not sure who that was, but it was enough to get some damage on. And, again, that's going to be important come Storm Surge if we do get to that point. With a smaller lobby like this, Storm Surge hasn't necessarily been as prevalent of a problem. But still does exist, and hey, it's never a bad thing to get some early extra damage.
Right. I mean, it almost feels natural for some of these guys to find the extra early damage. I mean, it's become a consistency among all of competitive at this point here, so I'm not even shocked when I see it.
Yeah, no, listen, man, if you can hit the shot, you're going to try and take it. And for a lot of these guys here, that's what they're kind of focusing on right now, is trying to give themselves enough confidence that they can move through the rest of this game and really be in a great position. A team who seems to be in a pretty good one right here in the circle, nobody really trying to contest them besides a team that's just barely to the west of them, is Jack and War here. I do wonder what that team to the west is thinking. Are they aware that they're there? Are they waiting for their perfect moment? I can see that as Janman, but are they going to make that move? Are Janman and Law actually going to try and contest here for this little bit of the tempo?
So what's interesting, too, is that we just saw Cowboy and Hyper Awareness fly in through from what was that position, and they saw that. For now, though, now Team Shades have been fighting out by the house for quite some time now, and now are coming through. Sap and Baz, they route back into this one, and they eliminate Nounsy. It's only up to Shades to pull this one off, but just as quickly as we tune in with him, he's already looking for the extended escape.
Hey, listen, this is kind of what you and I were hoping for as well, though. These are some of the front runners we were talking about that need to get eliminated early if we want to see any sort of shakeup here on the leaderboard. As it stands right now, Nounsy and Shades are in 4th place. They've got a chance to try and advance themselves a little bit further up the leaderboard and get themselves into first, but first they need to survive. And they're going to lay on some shots and trying to sway that team from charging them, but it doesn't really look to try and make them move at all. Shades, though, cleverly drops down, tries to find a chance to try and heal back up. And they've got the rift on them. I wouldn't be surprised if they use that, but as Donald Trump is throwing some fire on, it's going to make this difficult. Let's see if it's going to be enough to work on out. I think Shades, no, they've dipped on out. They found their escape route, and they'll live to see another day.
Yeah, at this point, it's just too hard to get an appropriate angle. So, able to save at least the rift potentially for the further extent of these storms, but this is a problem, right? I mean, we talked about it before getting into this game. If you are looking to secure points for yourself and you are sitting kind of competitive in the leaderboard, you do need to last.
I mean, that's kind of what we've been seeing the entire night at this point here, is that consistency is going to reign supreme above anything else. If you want to try and frag out, that's not a bad idea, but if you get overzealous, you expose yourself too early, all of a sudden that's the end of your round before you can even blink. Ooh, for some of these teams, though, it does look like they're going to be able to continue through.
Well, that's it for Shades.
Is that it for Shades? Did I miss that?
Yeah, that's what I was reacting to there. Bulk on fire still. Able to find another elimination there, and it is officially on to Shades kind of coming out of that storm. So a bit of a shame. Nounsy and Shades there, we talk about them being in what was, I believe, top 4.
4th place with 65 points, 3 points behind 3rd, and 8 points in front of 5th. It's unfortunate because guess who is right on their tail and who's been having a pretty good game thus far? Bach and Broken. They need to continue on their merry way if they want a shot.
Well, speaking of continuing on their merry way, we check in with Quinn and Tiny. Last time we were with them at the beginning of this game, they were down to, I believe, the 1 member, so that revive did officially come off. For now, though, it looks like they're just taking their time. There's no one particularly in their area that's going to give them a fight, as they're just starting to make their way towards Storm 4.
Honestly, it's a good idea at this point here to try and avoid these fights when you know you've already been eliminated once. It can get a little bit into your mental as well. If you're starting to have a fight like this, you just kind of want to take a second, breathe, and reassess yourself. And they may not get times. We're going to switch away from the perspective, but a couple of shots firing off as we do check back in, though, with Baz and Sap Games. Again, another team that I feel like are starting to establish establish themselves as we get to the back half of the night. They started off a little bit sketchy, but as more time has gone on, they've become better and better with every single one of their games. If they can have a really solid game here in game number 4, I do have some feeling that maybe they can find themselves in the money as we get to the end of the night.
Gotta be careful, though. They're running right up alongside Capadonna and King Balk. I mean, this was a fantastic showing here from this squad all game long. If they run it right up against them, I have no confirmation that they'll survive. But for Sap Games, this is the problem.
Oh!
You do not pay any respect towards what is inside the temple, and now it is just up to Baz to pull this one off. Already dropped down 60 on the shield. 9-0, 74 HP left to remain here, trying to keep this one defensible. Forced to use the armored wall, but still taking damage after damage.
Oh, he walked straight into that trap. Perfectly played by the team. Just kind of ratting it out inside the temple. But guess what? An elimination's an elimination, and points are points. So for high ground, or for, excuse me, Baz at this point here, he's just going to try to hold on to whatever points have been accumulated here in game number 4. I don't think he's getting sat back up. Unfortunately for Baz, he's going to just have to kiss his partner goodbye and wait for another game.
I gotta, hey, it's heavy respect there. I mean, rat strat cheese plays, they work when they do. At the end of the day, if you're not paying respect towards your environment, especially in Storm 4, well, then that's the problem there. Venji finishes the job.
And they find themselves their first wipe of this game. Honestly, well done. Listen, man, if it works, it works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it truly is not right now. Scar and Venji find themselves a fantastic way to get themselves on the board here. Well, Capadonna, they do not. They're officially taken out by Tox. We're down to 14 teams remaining. And it does feel like a couple of our front runners dropped out early enough here that this could be the game that really shakes up that leaderboard.
Well, not quite. I haven't heard hide nor hair regarding Zay and Dom and Melks and Parzik, and those are the two big ones, right? I mean, we've been seeing a great showing from Balk and Capadonna, which is always fun to watch. I mean, they're the potential new competitors. Remember, they're not in the top 10 right now. But our leaders, those who are going to be really taking away the lion's share of the prize pool, are still well within the realm.
And
Maybe I'm wrong.
Agree with you on that one. I will say one team that I do kind of want to focus on a little bit more there is going to be Cut and Venman. As it stands right now, they're in 8th place. Yesterday for East, they finished in 6th place, and like we said, this was a day that they wanted to redeem themselves. If they can have a good game number 4, they can prop themselves into that top 5 and really contest for the back half of this night. We're not quite there yet. 26 players remain, 14 duos still here on this map, but it does feel like we've finally found a little bit of a lull, a chance for us to catch our breath and get ready for what is the inevitable fight as soon as the circle moves.
Yeah, I'm loving the free cam here, able to give us at least some analysis regarding who does still stand in our next circle, especially as this one's going to start closing in here. Bach and Broken further away that we see them playing towards the edge. Meanwhile, as we tune back in towards our first-hand perspective here, Venji, Cleaning Crews, Zammy, and Ox, they're going to be down. That is your 6th place team now eliminated.
Oh boy, Zammy and Tox going out early is a big, big thing here. And again, we say early because we're not even into the top 10 quite yet. We've got a couple of teams still lurking around waiting for their moment. But for Venman and Cut, I feel like they need to not just have a good placement here, they need to get an elimination. If they do not find themselves some solid points in this game, it's going to be difficult for them to catch up on the back half of the night. So as great as they're playing right now, the fact that they have found themselves a pretty solid work, they definitely need to try and advance a bit further. All right, Venman. I see you, my guy. You just got to dance while you're on cam.
I'll go back to the other one. I preferred that song. Not that one.
No. This is all right. Maybe we're overdoing it at this point here. All right, Venman and Cut, we know what they're doing for right now. They're gonna have a little bit of a dance party. So let's check in on Tracy and McFlurry here instead. Hey, listen, man. Every once in a while, you got to stunt, you know?
Well, you got 15 seconds until the next storm pull happens, and that's going to be when the rotation's necessary. I mean, you might as well.
honestly, yeah, I would agree with you on that one here. And, well, for this team, I would say just keep on doing what you're doing so far. This is currently our first place team in Tracy and Dom, if I'm not mistaken here. And they're doing a really good job, but they need to do more than just a decent job in this game. They need to establish themselves with, I would say, a little bit greater of a lead. As it stands right now, they're 8 points above second place, which is a decent amount of points, but it's not going to be enough points for me to definitively say that they can just sort of rest on their laurels here in this game. They need a big enough game to really establish themselves.
Especially, I mean, you know Shades and Nouns are out, that's great, but Milks and Parzak are literally sitting right next to you, potentially waiting to take this one away, playing the high ground out there on your side, where you currently are contesting amongst, what is it, at least 3 or 4 squads all surrounding you.
And speaking of squads surrounding you right now, it does seem like the eliminations are starting to pop up in the feed. Cut gonna go down, Bulk gonna go down, Parzak just sniping kids from a distance. And it might just be enough. The unfortunate thing is, though, Venman's still lurking in the wings, so if they can try and get away from this distraction for long enough, he might be able to survive, but he will not. Broken credited with the elimination there, and we're down to 11 squads remaining.
Still, though, Parsec was the one to cater a lot of those on the early end, so puts themselves back up to at least 3 eliminations there. That's 4 on top of the points they're accruing. And I mean, we didn't discuss it too much this game, but it is an insane pace that this lobby is taking. We're sitting at our 6th storm, and it's already down to our final 11 squads. That's absurd.
It's getting a little bit hot and hectic out here at this point here, and I have no problems with that. I'm loving this. The fact that we're turning up the heat, making it incredibly difficult for teams to play passively, means that you really do need to show yourself in your best light. We've talked about it before. Hit your shots, and you should be able to walk away with at least a little bit of change in your pocket. And although it's a lot easier said than done, the teams are starting to recognize how valuable those eliminations truly are going to be. In addition to that, they're all recognizing how valuable the rifts are going to be. Once again, as soon as we get to our first moving zone, everybody takes to the skies.
It definitely is a lot stronger than expending what is the probably most lengthy rotation, and it's likely something that we're going to see continue throughout the entirety of this competitive season. I mean, it's just the best time to utilize it.
It really is. It's definitely one of these things where a lot of players have been talking about how they've been utilizing the rifts, how they've been taking advantage of this different mobility. Last season, we had a very different game when it came to mobility. A lot more of those launch pads being used, and now the launch pads are no longer in competitive. It's a very different ball game. Well, this next circle, a very different one as well. Carp goes down, Gingy goes down, Dom goes down, and that's a big one. We were talking about how they're in first place. If Zay goes down as well, all of a sudden, we have got our top 5 completely wide open.
Completely wide open and undefined there. Davey with the full thirst elimination there on to Dominic Fleury, and that'll be it. Zay down as well with our final 8 squads remaining. The top 5 is anyone's game now. I'm especially looking at Parzak and Mel.
Oh yeah, you have to be looking at Parzak at this point here. There's no way that you're not. They played so well throughout the entire night, but Milks really does need to try and step up with his teammate if they want to establish themselves a little bit of a lead. Yet, we said the difference between first and second place was 8 points. The difference between Milks, Parzak, and Zay and Dom, the same thing. They are currently tied for second place as it stands, and Shades and Nounsy exit out early, so they're actually even better position because Shades and Nounsy only get the points due to early exits out of game number 4 here. So this is going to be a big one. If Parzak and Shiesty can add on just a couple more eliminations, they can take a massive lead in first place.
I love this too. They're playing the early side of the storm here. They're not pressing themselves to be at a disadvantage. They're trying to bolster themselves with as much placement points as possible. Granted, you have Milks taking a bit of time back there, playing the slow defense with utilization of the ammo itself. And maybe they met themselves an additional E-lane here, but I'd like to see them keep rotating this one out.
I'd like to see that as well. I want them to just play a little bit more strategically because it stands right now, they're kind of just, you know, flying by their bootstraps and hoping it works out, especially with the loadout that Parzak's running with right now. They've got heals for days, but they've only got a shotgun to play with. They need to get a quick refresh, and then all of a sudden they can pick themselves up, let's say, either an AR or an SMG, something to spray down walls. Because it stands right now, like I said, they are at the mercy of their opponents, and it's not working out too badly for them thus far, but here comes the shot that I was worried about. Resources going to drain quickly as they are having to build on build walls around them.
problem. At this point, you have to make the crucial decision. Do you take the fight or do you make the drop at this moment? Play for a bit more of those mid-cards. You're almost guaranteed that you might have to take someone out, but it's definitely going to be a little bit more safety, a lot more resources to work for. Meanwhile, that'll be all said and done for Bach there as he'll be officially dropped by Nazinji.
Is Broken still around, though? I think his partner might still be up, so he can try and outlast some of his opponents and get some decent placement points, because we're officially down to our top six. There goes Parzik, and Quinn's still in the game. There goes Milks as well, and now Broken will get involved as he takes out Tiny. All of a sudden, what was a very calm little moment completely goes out the window as even Quinn now drops on the elimination feed.
Scar and Benji, though, able to reel them way back into this, heal up and continue to defend from behind. Broken, we know for a fact there's no Bach on this map. There's no way you defend, but now they've got to pull from both angles. It looks like the Storm's going to be what kills him there. Thankfully, that's a great reset, but no one's paying attention to Jan and Law all the way up.
Oh, they're going to take this high ground to their advantage. Winning condition in their favor. And this is going to be difficult for anybody to contest them. Wait a minute. Law drops down low and leaves Janman to be the one up high. They will reconnect here, but I'm starting to think they might not have a lot of builds to work with. They're using them oh so scarcely. And while Scar is in the fray at the bottom, the upper ground completely uncontested. If Law and Janman can just outweight their opponents until they take each other out, this is theirs for the taking.
They've got a ton of builds here, and now they're playing cleanup crew. They're the only ones in the zone. This is their game to win here, as that's going to be likely it. Crest just barely trying to survive. They're going to share a bit of the heals back, so they potentially have the opportunity to last in the heal off, but they're as low as can be as well. Oh, Crest has no heals. Crest has no heals.
That's gonna be it.
He gets the refresh.
Wait a minute. All of a sudden, Janman goes down, and Crest out of nowhere pulls off the two-piece in the victory royale.
I don't even have a... Ugh. What a silly mistake. They have it set up. They're within the zone. They've got full control. They let Crest slip on through, above and around, drops off the back, gets the refresh, gets the siphon. The crucial moment there, and they're not even prepared. They let that one slip through their fingers.
I'm hoping we can watch this one back. I think we've got a replay, apparently, according to our production. We're going to watch this one back. Watch the health of Crest. Look how low it gets before they get the refresh. I think they were at 10 health. 10 or 20 health total. 30 health right here. They drop down. 20 health. Get the refresh to 60, and that's all it took. Oh, my word, Crest. I don't know what to say. It's an incredible way to end. Honestly, at this point, it's well played for Crest. And, well, it's not just Crest that gets that one. It is Crest and Davey. They are your victors here in game number 4. 5 eliminations, 30 total. 2 of those coming on the final 2 players.
And you know what? If we're talking about overall leaderboard there, I mean, that's a fantastic place to be now. Right? We know for a fact that takes them from 68 to 98 now in the face of everyone else around them. So officially, once we get that updated, they could potentially be in first place now.
We said we were going to have a shakeup on the leaderboard. I did not realize it would be that intense. Crest and Davey out of nowhere. You got to think about it this way. Law just goes down to the Storm. That doesn't happen. Law should have just literally charged into the Storm.
Doesn't drop.
Let his teammate, let his teammate, he wouldn't get the refresh, he wouldn't get the siphon, and there's no way Crest takes that. That is the slimmest margins I've ever seen on any Fortnite play. I don't understand. Props to Crest, honestly.
I don't think they expected Crest to pull that one out of the woodwork there in the very, very end, because there was such a delay on that decision too. We're talking about, I mean, what the replay doesn't catch there is there's a massive separation. You've got Crest and Davey playing outside of Storm for at least 5 seconds there. That's why you see them as low as they are before that fight even occurs.
I mean, looking back at it, crazy thing about this, Law is also the player that takes out Davey. That's a revenge story if I've ever seen one. Crest avenges his teammate and finishes with a victory royale. Listen, folks, we're going to need to take a second to break this one down. I need to catch my breath after that one. So what we're going to do is go to a quick break. And when we return, we will have that updated leaderboard. And oh boy, is that leaderboard going to be updated. It's going to be something special. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Fortnite fam, to the Campus Cup here featuring Fortnite on the EsportsU channel. Once again, this is the West Coast Finals, and once again, Oliver Bash joined alongside by none other than Zephyr, my main man, as we get into the very end of our night. 2 games remain here, games 5 and 6, and that will be it to crown our champion of this $3,000 tournament. And it's getting spicy at this point here, Zephyr.
Easily coming out of our most aggressive lobby yet, where we had less than 13 to 11 squads going into the beginning of our storm rotating. I mean, absolutely absurd. So let's take a look, of course, at that leaderboard and see where everyone has fallen after our exciting game there.
Well, can you believe it? We have got a new crown on the top of the heads of Crest and Davey. 79. Well, actually, I think it might be a little bit more than that here at this point.
98.
But, actually, no. Actually, maybe? We're trying to make sure at this point here.
98.
Regardless, this is accurate. Crest and Davey are by far at top of this leaderboard.
So to confirm, the positions are currently correct here. We just have a slight debuff on the points. There we go.
There it
All
is.
right, perfect.
All right. 98 points. They are in first place. They do so by far through placement points. They have been one of the most consistent teams here tonight. And the crazy thing about that, I can't even believe I'm not realizing that until right now. That's their second win in a row.
No way.
Yeah.
I'm checking.
Go ahead.
That's incredible. That doesn't happen.
No, it does not. that is a rarity.
Mind you, if you weren't watching or if you're just tuning in, an absurd finishing game 4 that should not had been a Creston Davey win.
Not even even Crest came into chat and almost immediately was like, I don't know how we got there to this point. And to be fair, Zay and Dom, I know how they've gotten to this point here. They've done insane things through 27 eliminations, multiple games with over 5 apiece. But for teams like Milks and Parzik, for teams like Bach and Broken and Scar and Venji, they have had to toil through the mud the entire time versus Creston Davey, who consistency remains king for this squad.
Yeah. And, well, it hasn't been the most outbreak, star-shining moments here. That word, it rings true no matter how you look at it. But the problem is, it's not something that builds a massive gap. So for now, 98 points is only followed suit by 96, a 2-point difference. So you still need to find major success moving into our next 2 games. For now, though, we look at our 11th through 20th.
And the 11 through 20 is still pretty interesting, if you will. The player and team that I really want to focus on right now, though, is going to be Tiny and Rich Homie Quinn. They're currently sitting in 12th place. And that may seem like a really bad place. But when they were in, I believe, either 16th or 18th before that, and all of a sudden they get themselves up just a little bit more, this may be the ignition you and I were hoping for and looking for out of this team.
That's tough to say. I'm doing the math, right?
Okay.
At the end of the day, we've seen a consistent average of what is, we'll be generous and say the 30 points that do exist on a poll towards a win tonight, the highest being 31. If they're able to source out 2 wins back to back, that's only 60 additional extra points, which only puts them up to 92, right? And granted, that's not even first.
It may be over for the teams.
That's what we talk about. This is why we bring it up early when we look into games 3 and 4, because you don't have the opportunity to come back from it once you've dropped that many games in a row.
Unfortunately, that's kind of the reality, is if you haven't been able to establish yourselves thus far, you may not be able to anymore. We're hopping into game number 5 here, and yeah, this is going to be a very different one. 30 players in this lobby means that we're starting to get to the nitty-gritty. This is truly going to start to get very, very intense.
Wow. 30 players into the lobby here. Half the amount that we started with today, but still 2 major games to go.
What this definitely means, though, if we see anybody contest off a drop, which apparently we do, someone has already been eliminated from this lobby. I was going to say I'll be surprised, but, listen, today's been full of surprises, so if somebody does decide to key early in these games, I'm not going to be astonished.
I mean, when you've got nothing to lose and you're looking for points, something, the math I gave right there is that of, I say generous, but it could be even more. I mean, if you're looking for at least some of the elims that are going to give you the extra points necessary to surpass that kind of 98 bar that exists in first place right now, okay, you do have to be aggressive. You have to get out there. You have to be looking for kills, because if you're not, guess what? You are mathematically never going to surpass that point.
That's kind of the thing, is that now it's time to get bold. As much as I don't want to see teams, just throw caution to the wind entirely, some of these teams, that might be their goal right now, is go, hey, I just seen the foot, the very pinky toe of another team. Let's start getting aggressive. And, well, speaking of which, we've got a battle for the Rave Cave here. It's Shades and Nounsy versus Law, and I'm trying to remember who their teammate is. Either way, I do know one thing for certain. Indeed, it is Jan Man. Both of these teams have a lot to prove here off this drop.
Well, already right off the bat, Nounsy and Shade showing that the caliber of their 2v2 is far more well than capable. Jan Man now on the escape, but already taken down to 10 on the shields. Only one more will do it to click through, but thankfully for them, the Rave Cave provides multiple angles that allow for a safe escape.
And they do get a safe escape on out of here. Very well done to Jan Man, because he recognized exactly how dangerous that was. That was 6th place versus 7th place here in our lobby, and I don't think Jan Man's going to quite be able to escape. Yep, Nounsy can see that. They can smell blood in the water, and they're going to continue charging on. Jan Man with 5 health. Will they remain? No, they will not. And the 6th place team takes out some of their biggest competition as 7th place drops on out.
Mind you, though, that is the 14th squad to fall. 15th had already been dropped during that entire process. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if we were particularly looking there, but I believe that was Balkan Capo.
I think so. I think that was who I was looking at. And Vulcan Capodonna doing well, but they're in 13th place, so it's
Had
not
a great
necessarily...
game 4.
Yeah,
Fantastic game 4.
Oh yeah, they had a really good game 4. But again,
really great game.
Yeah. Listen, every once in a while, the boomer brain doesn't work all that well. But no, the reality is that Bulk and Capodonna kind of sitting in the same place that we were talking about with Tiny and Quinn, where they're at 40 points coming into this game. Unless they get 2 wins in a row, they're probably not walking away with money. So for Nounsy and Shades, this was a much bigger elimination.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, you're right, you know. No big deal.
No big deal. No big deal.
No, I'm
NBD.
No. At this point, though, with only 13 squads remaining going into at least our first storm, we should have nothing take place at this point. Granted, I do understand the concept of you need to make more competitive action happen, but in terms of literal layout of the map as a whole, there's just too much spread, right? Nice.
No, that was beautiful. Nounsy, listen, I understand why they make fun of young people when they're driving now a little bit more. However, I don't think I'm necessarily...
Hold on.
What?
I think they make fun of it. I think there is a statistical issue with young individuals driving.
I'm trying to keep it lighthearted and not talk about, car crashes on stream. But, if you'd like to dive into the topic, I
the
give you
highest rate of... No.
All right, well, interesting. Fair enough at this point here. And you know what else is going to be fair if we see a little bit of a dip in the action, if you will. 26 players remain in this lobby, and we're not even through our first circle. So I got to hope that maybe for at least a second we can catch our breath.
Catch our breath. It's not, I was about to say, it is not going to be anything for now. Yes, I know that you've got a squad watching. Scar and Benji are playing a little bit of foot right around the area here.
I think we saw him too.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you're walking around like Ellen DeGeneres here with this outfit, making your way through the open grass and sticking out like a sunflower, yeah, there's more than likely going to spot you at a certain point.
Especially when you've got the, I'm trying to remember what it is, not spatial awareness, whatever the ability in game to turn on what is visual cues for all of your audio. I think it's literally called visual audio. That's really going to make it aware that if anybody even breaks a single branch, that you're going to know they're there. And they do know that they're there. Venji waiting behind the rock. They want to take the shot, and there they go. They take to the skies, and all that does is make a moving target to shoot at, as Sin John 2X is down to only 65 health.
And this is a huge separation, mind you, between Colo and John. So it's the perfect opportunity here for Benji and Scar now to finish the job. Right there, all they have to do. Where are they going to set themselves up, though? Ah, I love it. Play for Farside at the back end. Force them to come to them.
Oh, wait, maybe not.
Oh,
They're taking
maybe
a fight
not.
to John. They're charging on in, and they're not going to get the elimination. Because all of a sudden, Colo does start getting involved in the fight. Shot goes either way. And what should have been a quick 1-2 for Scar and Benji here is now going to turn into a full-on battle.
Could have been quick here, but now Colo has officially arrived just below them there. The angle isn't in the best of situations, but he has found himself reunited with John. A few splashes to put themselves into a place of health here. That storm is continuing to tick, so you've got to be careful.
Oh, you've got to be so incredibly careful with every move that you take right now. And again, it's not just the fact that they're playing in Storm right now, and even if it is taking one tick, they spend too much time in this circle. Oh boy, it's going to be a problem, but it's already a problem for the Sin duo. They go down, and Scar and Venji find some quick eliminations early in the game.
Our 13th squad eliminated, but now for Scar and Venji, they've got a ways to go. The Storm has left them behind for now.
That's big for Scar and Venji, though. They currently stand in 5th place. Getting eliminations like that in a lobby where there are not that many eliminations to give due to it only being 30 total players means that they're taking points off the board from other teams around them and putting them in their pocket. That is a massive, massive early battle for Scar and Venji.
We'll see how they fare here, especially as a lot of these squads begin to orient themselves for this late game here. Barack Obama and Donald Trump, I'm happy to see them still making their debut. Or, I suppose it's not really a debut, but making their way through here. Ooh, though! In that feed, Tracy fully wiped. Tiny and Quinn showing up.
Oh boy, that's going to be a big one. The fact that Quinn is still in this makes me think that they are going to be going for that back-to-back win that you and I were talking about. When $3,000 is the prize pool here, it is not that surprising because the $3,000 is not just going to first place. Even if you can't take first place, taking third and at least a little bit of change in your pocket, that's big for a team like Tiny and Quinn.
Still, though, to even be competitive within that, they've got to net some massive point differentials. Remember, seconds at 96 points, first 98, third 91. It's a heavier drop down to 79 for fourth, but you still need a massive, I mean, huge success of wins back-to-back if you're Quinn and Tiny right now.
They can do it, though. If any team in this lobby is going to pop on off out of nowhere, it's going to be them. A team that seems to try to pop on off right here and now is going to be Mellow and Frosty, though. They've engaged themselves in a quick high battle, but it's going to be enough for them to actually find an elimination. It looks like their opponents are going to box on up. It's going to be Gingy and you-know-who, but can they actually escape? It looks like they've dropped low, and they might have just given free high ground to Frosty and Mellow. I don't know why you would do that, but maybe I guess it's just to heal on up. They don't necessarily have a ton of builds to work with, but they're going to get gunned down the minute they pop their heads.
You don't waste a splash here. I mean, at the end of the day, I think you dissuade the fight. You say you obviously have expended more to pull for the high ground, and we're not looking to contest for that at this current point. We want to last this one out. We want to find ourselves in a placement that's actually going to put us in a competitive realm for scoring. So this is a good spot in terms of Sanctuary outside of it. We'll stick with it for now.
Stick with it. It does seem like both teams are going to be sticking with this fight here as Frosty and Mellow, again, still do have the high ground, but it seems like Gingy and you-know-who are not going to be afraid of retrying or trying to retake it. Oh, they're not all too successful right now. That's a quick drain on the Mellow, though. The beam going to come out, and that might make them at least take a second guess, but not when the shotgun is in play. Gold Shotty going to drain all the shields from you-know-who.
And Gingy as well, both of them looking fairly worse for wear there. They're going to take a second, get themselves healed just a bit back up as Frosty Fly tries to push themselves back into the fight there. They themselves are quickly brought down low here. Mellow finds full respite into heals. Keep you-know-who and Gingy in a competitive round, but just as quickly as you-know-who comes outside, he is dropped.
Now they're going to find the first elimination of the two, but can they find the second one? Gingy still waiting in the wings, and at this point, for Frosty and Mellow, they're just kind of toying with their prey, waiting to make this approach. They know that they're around here. If I'm Gingy, I'm dipping out, and indeed, they are doing exactly that. How far can they get, though? Here comes the Brigade as they're chasing down Gingy. They're gonna rift on out! That might have been the move! They actually may escape!
But here's the problem. You're so open in the sky there. It's potentially the perfect opportunity for someone else to take you out. Bach, the one to find that elimination to take us down to 11 squads remain.
Not too surprising there. We knew that it was going to be an uphill battle for Gingy there, or I guess a technically downhill battle as they're trying to find themselves a hill to land on. But you know what? It is what it is, and at this point, it is what it is for a lot of these teams here. They're going to have to accept the results of game number 5 and get into game number 6 really full guns a-blazing.
Well, as it stands right now, only some of the, not the biggest leaders have been dissuaded as it stands. Oh, this is one I definitely want to look at. Melks versus Parsec, or Melks and Parsec versus Venji and Scar here. set themselves up with a little bit of an angle, but very quickly do they pull back.
I wonder what they're trying to do here. I don't think they're shying away from the fight. They might just be trying to get the high ground and see if they can reestablish themselves. They've got plenty of builds to work with, and no, they're just dipping on out. I mean, I guess I kind of get it. Yeah, but like, at the same time, we've been talking about this. If you haven't really established yourself too well in the previous games, or even just sort of somewhat establish yourself, you need to get eliminations in this lobby if you want to try and take advantage.
Well, Melks and Parsec at least are in third. They don't have to go out as far as, say, someone you like Barack Obama and Donald Trump, who currently sit all the way in God knows where. I'm not even joking.
I actually do not know where they are on this leaderboard as it stands right now. But you know what? Hey, listen. Every once in a while, you got to remember, this is a collegiate event. It's about practice, being able to get yourself into a competition against some of the best in the best of the West, and that's what this is. Again, a lot of these players, they don't just play in collegiate events. They also play in professional events. Mellow and Frosty have tried to play in a combination of everything, but they might not even be able to play any longer. Mellow eliminated as Donald Trump and Barack Obama wipe the squad.
And it's such a shame, too. We saw what was a fantastic defense from Mellow and Frosty as they were on that high ground. I mean, it was disgusting. You know who and Gingy just couldn't go toe-to-toe. But Barack Obama and Trump, who haven't been showing up all day, they slide in. They say, this is our Oval Office. Get on out.
Honestly, not too surprising. That team should be pretty stacked, and they should be able to defend against anybody. And guess who can defend against Shades? It's going to be Tiny.
And
Nounty and Shades out at the 10th place in this lobby. Every single game, we find somebody who exits early and shakes up that top 5 and top 10.
It's definitely still shaking up the top 5 here, but no one has made any moves on our top 3 contenders. Those are the ones I need to see fall here, because they're the ones that set the bar. As this continues to drift further and further away, these 3 squads are going to be the ones that keep elevating it to the next level. And we're already sitting at what is our 9 squads remaining. We know for a fact the placement that they're netting for themselves only pushes that into the triple digits already.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. And honestly, the team that we're looking at here through the eyes of war is the team that you got to keep your eyes on. Crest and Davey currently sitting in first place, but only by 2 points over Zay and Dom. The fact that both of those teams are still around, the fact that both of those teams are still doing the most damage, means that you are going to have to be careful. It does seem like Davey and Crest are probably playing this one a little bit more passively. I would say that's the right move for them.
Yeah. Playing it more passively is definitely, I'd say they've been playing it passively.
True.
If we take a look at their eliminations, it's only been within the last 2 games that they've really sourced out 5 or 6 per game, when in reality, they're kind of slower to approach each of these, which is totally fine. It's been putting them on top of the leaderboard for a reason. That's how you win. But it's nothing new.
It's nothing new, but you know what would be a little bit new if one of these 2 teams goes down early? I would say the newer thing would be if Tracy and Dom go down early, because Tiny and Rich Homie Quinn have had such inconsistencies, unfortunately, and has left them in such weird positions every time. I wouldn't be surprised if Tiny and Rich Homie Quinn, though, just take every single fight that they can, or maybe not. They're going to dip on out, and they're going to get shot from behind. Tiny down to 11 shield, and that might be the catalyst that Tracy and Dom were looking for.
It's definitely the catalyst that gives them the opportunity to kind of crest this ridge here and set themselves up within circle, but they still have to pay a little bit of respect. And you can see there, Tracy taking 19 from a bit of a spray on top, but still they find safety.
I would love to see if Quinn and Tiny can find themselves the win here in this fight. I'm not necessarily cheering for them, but I'm cheering for the underdog story right now, because if you take out a team like this before we get down to our top 5, it really shakes up this leaderboard so aggressively, and that's all we really want at the end of the day, is a spicy game number 6. I'm never a fan of when you go into game number 6 and you kind of know who's walking away with first place. I want to see this one completely turned on its head, and with players like Boxo getting taken out, yeah, that might just do so. Finally, we see a team in our top 5 go down early.
Yeah. Still looking for Broken there. right? So at that point, you still have the opportunity to play for a bit of placement, but we obviously know it's come down to a big difference in terms of numbers advantage time and time again. A term, though, I haven't brought up, which I think is actually very relevant at this current point. You have a lot of squads who aren't in the realm to be anywhere close to where you need to be in terms of points, so they're playing spoiler. Right? They're coming through to potentially take the opportunities away. Obviously, like you said earlier, it's a collegiate event. You get your practice, you get some of those chops in for what could be potentially your next term, your next series. And playing spoiler is a great way to do that. You take a toe-to-toe up against the very, very best in the current lobby, and you push them to their limit.
You push them to their limit, and you find out what your limit is as well. For a lot of these teams, this is probably one of the most intense competitions they've ever been in, with $3,000 on the line and multiple players who are signed to organizations who literally pay these guys to play Fortnite on a near daily basis. Yeah, this is going to be some of the roughest competition they have ever seen. That being said, they don't look all too dissuaded by it. Most of these teams have still been playing with their usual strategies, not really second-guessing themselves in any of these fights. And that's kind of how you got to take it. If you lose any confidence in yourself, you might as well kiss that prize money goodbye.
Creston Davey, I want to point this out, make a deep dive low, drop off that high ground in its entirety here for this next rotation. And they're one of the first to do it, getting right on the outside edge of that zone there. So it's a big move and pull this one back, of course, towards our free cam, and you can see just for a second how everyone has given up that high ground now officially.
Yeah, it kind of feels like everybody's recognizing that high ground, while it has been valuable, those rifts have made it incredibly difficult for teams to hold on to that high ground for a consistent amount of time. Cut seems to, I was gonna say, Cut seems to be holding on to it for right now, but the unfortunate thing is that Cut may be by themselves. I don't see, no, there's Venman. Okay, Venman is still around. They're both holding to the high ground, so I guess one team has opted to take the high ground.
I love the angle it gives them on top of Davey and Crest there. I mean, that's something to work with. I'm very curious to see where Storm pulls. If it does route back, I mean, they're going to feel absolutely fantastic.
It would be huge for them. At this point, they got to wait another 30 seconds, and then they can figure out where... Oh, actually, we know where it's going. It's going south. So technically, that should be somewhat advantageous for them, but they're still going to have to try and tarp their way through if they want a chance. Right. For Warren, for Jack right now, they don't really need to worry all too much. They're in a great position in the middle of the circle, and no one's taking shots at them.
So something that we haven't brought up, too, is the fact that because this is a smaller lobby going into it, in terms of setup for particular tarps to work with or any structures that have been already utilized, that doesn't exist, right? A lot of the time when you do have to force yourself to go with the storm as it shrinks, you're playing with new area. And obviously you'll have a little bit as things get a bit tighter in terms of the spread, but overall, I mean, it's new ground. So obviously here, as we go through our first poll, you're gonna see everyone take towards those rifts.
It's not surprising. Almost every single game that we've been watching, we have that moment where all of a sudden everybody takes to the skies, and it's not uncontested airspace. It's incredibly crowded. Although we do see a couple of teams kind of sticking to the ground right now, and that might be because they see an opportunity to take the high ground. Not if the entire structure comes crumbling down. Benman going to cannon through the structure. This may come back to bite him, though, as he's outside the zone. He's got floppers to work with, but he's got to rush on in. 60, 50, 40, 30. Will he survive? Just barely. No, he will not. That was a risky move, and it does not pay off.
Mind you, Quinn picks up Cut, brings us down to our 7 squads remaining there, and we didn't even get to see the aftermath of a decision like that.
Unfortunate, but you know what we do get to see? The build battle start to ensue as everybody is firing while trying to tarp their way over to the zone. 7 squads remaining for the first time in quite some time, too. It's all full duos here in this lobby.
Problem. Hyper awareness Cowboy, they're coming in late with the rifts, and surprisingly no one finds the appropriate knocks, as that'll be the full wipe there finally on to Donald Trump. Don't know where Barack Obama, there he is. Quinn's putting damage down, as that'll be it for Cowboy Jock.
I will say, Quinn and Tiny doing a good job this game at not only finding themselves a late placement, but also being able to find a decent amount of eliminations. They've got 5 total so far, and I feel like they are not quite done yet. You know who is done, though? Benji. They will exit out of this lobby as they go with the 12th player remaining. We got 11 around, and it's kind of crazy to think that so many of our front runners are still in this one.
Well, at this point, they're the the only ones who came out to play, to come out to compete going into our Game 5, but you have to pay respect towards quality where it is due here. Preston Davey playing through the mud. They've still got quite a ways to go. Meanwhile, Barack Obama on their side. Knock, knock. Not going to be taking that.
Well, they're trying their best right now just to survive. They can see they're in a bit of a difficult position because with Dom and Tracy right on their tails, if Preston Davey make one wrong move, that could drop them out of first place and leave that up to any of the other teams here. Here comes the challenge. Dom and Tracy do pick themselves up the elimination on War, and that's going to further their points here in this game as that's their 4th elimination so far.
Still need one more there to finish the job here on this squad. Meanwhile, Preston Davies still catering to themselves on this slow ground, breaking what they can here, but nothing to punish any of the upper end squads. They're all still within this one, and it's technically Parsik and Melks at the very, very top, and it's gonna be our number 1 versus our number 2 here.
Uh-oh, and they trade on either side. Crest gets one, and then Dom goes down as well. Tracy's just got to try and stay alive, but Crest, they will find yet another elimination. The issue is every elimination's another point. That's a further way that they will survive. Quinn picks up Tracy, and now all of a sudden we're down to 3 squads remaining. Crest, the only solo. They're in a great position. They have outlasted a lot of their opponents, but do you remember what you and I said going into this one? If Quinn and Tiny want a chance, they need the win. They just might set themselves up for it.
They've got a great position in terms of high ground, but no builds to work with. Meanwhile, Crest going for the extremely great rift here. I mean, risky, but surprisingly able to survive.
They barely survive at that, though. They've got some shields to work with, and they've got no builds, and that might be their downfall, because Quinn, he's got a 1v2 here, though. All of a sudden, Tiny goes down. Odds against him, but he gets the first pick. Where's the next one? Parsik on the wings. They got a little bit of a high ground here, but if Quinn can nail his shot, he can end this one outright, but Parsik does instead. Parsik picking up yet another win for the squad as they take game number 5.
And this is huge for Melks and Parsik. They were sitting in 5th prior to this one with 91, or my apologies, they were, I believe, in 3rd. And now with that win on their belt are more than in a competitive range. Now, I will say, when we get up to that kind of positioning, though, those final 3, the difference between placement is not a lot. So sometimes, yes, it can come down to those eliminations.
Indeed, it can. And, well, I will say, it's a decent amount of eliminations there for Milks and Parsik, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say it was more than 5 or 6. So it's a big game for them. It's definitely a huge one. But is it going to be enough to pop them into the leaderboard? I'm not quite sure. It's kind of crazy to think about it this way, that we are coming down to a game number 6 that I think is truly going to determine it all here, Zephyr.
It's still well and undecided here. I mean, at the end of the day, you've had great performance of a different set of skills across the board. You have people like Davey and Crest playing the low and slow game without really bolstering themselves. And then on the opposite end, you got Zay and Dom racking up a massive, 20 plus eliminations games across our entire series as a whole. And they're neck and neck in points. And we're talking literally a 1 to 2 point difference.
It's crazy how close it's been, but you know what does get you a little bit above the rest? Taking a victory royale. Round number 5 goes to Milks and Parsik here. Only 3 eliminations, though. That's going to leave this one a little bit more up in the air than we had previously thought.
Yeah, like I said before we even looked at this, it's going to come down to those split eliminations here. We know for a fact Crest, Davies, Dom, they were well within many more fights across the board there in those final moments. And as a result, putting themselves up with at least 5 individually actually keeps them equivalent. So we might not have seen any shifts in our leaderboard.
Oh boy, I don't really know, but we can theorize as much as we want. But you know what's going to make that a little bit easier? If we actually do get the leaderboard. So what we're going to do is go to a quick little break, but when we return, we will have that leaderboard set in stone, and we will have our final game of the night. We'll be right back. Get ready. Round number 6 just around the corner.
That's so cute.
UCF, and it's really cute. So I'm gonna move down here. How do we feel? The odds for UCF? What are we thinking?
They got it. No, we got this. We got it. We got it.
Go Knights, charge on.
100%. My friend Nick is behind you. He's gonna record it. Don't look at him. You'll ruin the shot. Don't look at him. Come on.
Oh, let's go!
My smile's probably really creepy. I was just being weird.
Oh, I love being in the shadows, though. Big shout out to the shadows.
We could interview Dilly just because I think he's handsome. You weren't supposed to hear it.
Here's the thing about the event. I'm the greatest that's ever lived.
Literally true. I know him.
I think everyone knows that. I think everyone's aware of that.
Hey, do you have a VIP access badge on?
I actually have an all access.
Oh, an all access. I thought it said VIP access.
And that's only available for the best.
That's true. He's right. That's a main stage TO right there.
If this goes live, I'm suing everybody.
It's all right. A video of me, the first clip is me saying, don't put that in. And then it was the first, cut the cameras. Oh, you're recording already? Great. So this is Bay State versus UCF. I believe something that we saw yesterday on day one of the tournament, but instead we're going to have that run back here. I think they're fighting for a spot in Grand Finals. Anarchy, one of the best Greninja players in the United States, currently struggling against a Terry. Terry notorious for that DLC privilege, being a very strong character with some very strong abilities. Greninja, not so much, considered one of the weaker characters in the game. A Falco player, one of the best in the United States, and he just got spiked by a Terry. Same Terry that took out Anarchy literally minutes ago. UCF still up by 2 stocks. This guy is looking to rip this team apart single-handedly. That is, I mean, nuts, to say the very least. Absolutely absurd. That was a disgusting spike. I cannot believe that happened. Will you hold the microphone so I can sign this? Sorry.
For context, he's got a fan. He's actually signing something. He's so excited.
What was it like to not hear my voice for 2 minutes? For 30 seconds, maybe. What was it like? Probably bliss. I was signing a mouse pad, which is really cool. I've never done that before. Nobody's ever asked me for a signature, so I'm going to start blushing, but I'm really excited about that. And then he wants a picture. Can you take a picture of us? I said, is it bad? She went, no. I'm going to go ahead and take that as a yes.
Turns out I can't tie a tie sitting down.
What do you think is the appropriate face-to-screen ratio for a Valorant player?
Face to screen, like how close I sit?
Yeah, like how close should a player sit?
Personally, I play really, really close. I think it depends on your eyesight, but for me, I like playing close because it helps me focus on my crosshair.
Is the value of sitting close, the crosshair being the only thing in your line of sight?
Yeah, that's pretty much the main benefit of it.
It's so funny how close some of these guys sit. Oh my goodness. What do you think is the healthy face-to-screen distance for a Valorant player?
I think it's all kind of personal preference. I guess I would consider myself like pretty close when I play because I like to like zone in on my crosshair.
It is the second person to say that. It's all about the crosshair. And then what's up with the horizontal keyboard?
I don't know, like it just kind of fits like the form when I'm close to monitor. Like I don't know, it might sound cringy, but I like to like be one with my gun, you know?
No, bro, I feel it absolutely. What is going on, everybody? I am here with some UCF fans. How are we feeling about UCF? Let's go! Let's go! We've got a bunch of UCF fans in the crowd right now. UCF, they are up by a single game. They're looking to find their third and possibly final, secure a spot moving forward. Things looking great for them against Northwood here today. This guy's playing Minecraft right now. He keeps double building instead of placing the dirt. Pressure's on, man. Everybody's watching. Just kidding. Just me. Cameraman's not over here. Just kidding. He's behind you. There's actually always cameras on you if I'm around. Do you double build all of those? No excuses, bro.
I can't play Minecraft.
Your college esports Minecraft team absolutely rolled. L after L here. Let's hope UCF has a little better luck on stage, huh? What is going on, everybody? I am Septilence. I have the honor of welcoming you to the Collegiate Esport Commissioners Cup here in Atlanta, Georgia. All right, that was good. That was good. Good content, good content.
Welcome back, Fortnite fam, to the Campus Cup featuring Fortnite here on the EsportsU channel. Once again, my name is Oliver Bass, joined alongside by none other than Zephyr. And Zeph, we are here with our final game of the night. Game number 5, an interesting one, as a couple of our front runners dropped out early, while a couple of them stuck it out to the very end, making this one a rather spicy ending. We find ourselves with our victors in game number game number 5, only finishing with 28 points. And I say only 28 points because that might not have been enough to prop them up the leaderboard. So let's take a look right here and now and see what our top 10 holds, as this is going to be a very interesting game number 6.
And while it does push them into second here, it is not, I mean, they elevate themselves, but it's at the behest of a tie still between them and Zay and Dom. 119 points. I'm sorry to say it, the gap has officially formed. It now exists.
This is insanity at this point here. There is a gap between 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6. But at the same time, we've been talking about this game after game. You go down early enough in this next lobby, all of a sudden, that top 3 becomes vulnerable. But the reality is, at this point, here and now, we know how this is going to go. Either Crest, Milks, or Zay's team is most likely coming out on top. For these 3 squads, it's anybody's game.
Right. I mean, we literally saw all 3 of these squads go toe-to-toe in the final moments of that last game there. That's what we had the opportunity to see.
Dude, I don't even know what else to say at this point here. Besides, take a look at this one and burn it into your mind. Those 3 teams, Crest and Davey, Milks and Parzik, Zay and Dom, are going to have so much to prove here in this final game. And again, this is only the top 10 of our leaderboard. We've still got the top 20 to look through as well. Here we've got 11th through 20th, and there's a couple of teams that have made themselves apparent, but the big thing that we've been talking about all night long is that it's that front half that has established themselves early and gotten them in. Props to all of these teams. It's very impressive that you've stuck this way through and you've managed to get this many points, but the reality is it's that top 5, that top 10 that is really going to be contested.
Right, but at the same time, as I brought up last game, you play spoiler, you come through there. It could be any one of those squads who potentially gets an early cuff, comes off the rip, and takes a successful 50-50 that puts them out of the lobby, and as a result, they no longer get to pursue what could be the lion's share of the prize pool with the same fervor.
Oh boy, oh boy. Well, we're going to drop off the battle bus and get into game number 6. And well, if you guys are wondering what they're playing for, $3,000 prize pool on the line, $1,500 to first, $1,000 going to second place, and $500 to third. In a duos event like this, that is a big chunk of change.
I think that's absurd, and the craziest thing is it's in between 2 points that separates a massive 500 to 1,000 differential between just 3 squads right now. There's no big gap. There's no massive leader who's been playing well all 6 games. No, it's a 2-point difference. And we come into this with 13 squads, mind you.
Oh my god. Yeah, this is crazy because with 13 squads, that means automatically these guys are already getting points. Top 13 finishes with 9 points apiece. So no matter what, at this point, every single place that you further yourself in this game is going to net you a ton of points.
Which is easier than kills at this point, because there isn't enough people to eliminate.
I can't believe it. Oh my word! And I can't believe the shots that we're seeing here at the Bugle. Immediately, King Bulk is firing upon Mello, forcing them to retreat. And again, we were expecting not to see contested drops. Apparently, that's not the vibe right now.
I swear, if these 2 squads take themselves out currently at this moment, they only bolster the gap that is formed between our top 3 contenders at this point here. Right? And then at the same time, they take away the potential to earn points for them. And it could not be any more ironic.
I don't even know what to say at this point here. It's one of these things where every single time that I think I've got an idea of how this is going to go and I have an idea of how these teams are going to approach these games, they just throw it out the window and, you know, caution to the wind. It's not the worst idea. It's honestly a good idea in my mind, but at the same time, You guys got to be aware of what you're playing with right now. Your top 3 is hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Do you really want to play it this risky?
For some of them, I don't think they have a chance to win anymore. Right?
True.
I think the points just aren't there. At that point, though, I'd love to see them potentially take this toe-to-toe against those who are in a competitive realm. But at the end of the day, you know what? Just go up against whomever.
Well, it seems like right now, just want to make sure that, everybody is getting themselves established. It does seem like the initial fights have started to teeter off a little bit here as players are not necessarily as eager as we might have initially anticipated, which, again, that's good. What we're looking for. I will say this much, though. It does feel like we're going to have at least a team or two that just goes into this one full guns blazing, not thinking twice, and just keys every single build that they see on this map. For Crest and Davey right now, though, they're going to play this one low and slow. Crest's going to take the tempo to himself while his teammate Davey is actually pretty far away from him. I think they've tried to intentionally drop in a place where almost no other teams are so that they can gather up all the loot around them.
Yeah, gather or gobble, take it in stride here for Crest and Davey. I like the fact that they are taking it as slow as they can because obviously you just need to be in the best position possible because you're the one they're gunning for.
Well, Crest and Davey right now, they're going to play this one very, very patiently. And again, this is kind of what you and I were expecting from the team. We talked about this before. They have been playing super patiently the entire night. They've been waiting until they get into those final fights before they engage. And to see them do the same thing here in this final round is no surprise whatsoever. That being said, I do want them to be careful because it does feel like if all of a sudden one of the other teams that is doing well just pops off and gets a ton of eliminations, they may be in for a little bit scarier of a top 3 than they were expecting.
That is also true. When we start talking about the kind of 1 to 2 point differential there, while placement is going to make up a majority of that, if you have Melks and Parzik come through and have a standout 5 elimination game, suddenly that's your problem, right? That win that you might kind of sleek off with isn't going to be enough to surpass that.
And that's what we saw in the last game, is despite the fact that our second place team in Milks and Parzik won the game, they're still 2 points behind Crest and Davey. They only had 3 eliminations. 28 points total is definitely not going to be enough to completely shake this up.
Right.
So if a team all of a sudden finds 5, 6, 7 eliminations and that victory royale, that's 30 plus points to them, and that puts them far away from the rest. Heck, even if they come in second place is 22 points. If you're able to get more than 3 eliminations and second place, you're going to most likely pass first place.
As we reapproach the Daily Bugle once again here, we see another team has arrived. It's Bach and Broken. Now, this is a squad that isn't within that top 3, but if you potentially saw Dom, Melks, Crest all fall early, just due to happens chance, and then Bach and Broken did come out with a win, they could potentially just slide into a 3rd through 1st position out of nowhere. The problem is, though, you need to see Dom, Parzik, and Davey all go down. All 3 of those squads have to go down prior to this. You can't have them fall here, too.
Yeah, the issue is that they already have also established themselves with points. Again, because we only have 13 teams in this lobby, they automatically take 9 points home. So, yeah, you needed to do more than just have a good placement. You need to do more than just get a couple of eliminations. You need to frag on out here in this game. It's possible. It's definitely doable, but the odds are extremely slim. So for Bach and Broken here to see them immediately get aggressive and charge into the Bugle, this is no surprise.
I mean, yeah, I get what they're doing. Finally, they break down the armor, but there's 2 to behold here. Frosty Fly and Mellow putting up a tough fight if they want to get into this one here, but they still do so. Problem is, it's Cut who starts this one out on the other side here. They're going to come through on the back end, clean this one up, potentially now look for more, knowing that there's another squad in the area.
Oh, this is exactly what Bach and Broken were hoping for. A hotly contested POI where they can just clean house and make this top 3 somewhat contested. They're going to keep on going through. Capodonna almost down to no health around. Coolers in the wing. Cut and Venman, you talked about playing spoiler. They take out Bach and Broken here, and now that is the spoiler of all spoilers.
It was Cut and Venman, though, that took them brunt of that damage in that initial fight there, so they still have to be playing this one eagerly, respectful. Balk and Capadonna have pulled back and are in A good successive spot. You don't want to see Broken and Bach separate themselves too far forward, but from behind, it's going to be Bach that takes damage. It's going to delay any sort of aggression for now.
Oh, this is going to get difficult for them here as they don't necessarily have a ton to play with either. The issue when you do go into a POI like this is that most of the builds around you are natural. You're going to have to take down the walls if you want to try and build your own structure to really utilize. So they're going to dip on out. They've already stuck their toes in the water. They've realized how deep that it truly is. So they're going to live to see another day and swim away. Or maybe not. Broken is in a bit of a precarious position. If one more shot lands on him, that will be enough. And there's what we were talking about. Cut and Venman playing spoiler exactly as we had hoped.
But here's the problem, though. They've made themselves a hard target to hit all the way out there with the utilization of the rip. So as a result, yes, we're going to be seeing the revive come through here. Now, this is a huge expenditure in terms of resources, but still, it is enabled. You know, you still have the potential for Bach and Broken.
It's possible. I do think that they're going to be able to walk away from this one without it costing them too much. But again, like you said, it's the use of their utilities that is going to make this so incredibly difficult. However, a team that doesn't seem to be all too stressed to start this game is going to be Davey and Crest here. They find themselves with a ton of resources, a ton to run with. What?
They're just hanging out.
Yeah, they are. They're just hanging out. They're just vibing, you know, doing their thing.
There's no big deal. There's a couple squads nearby, but they're no big deal. They're just
kick their feet up, grab a couple of juices to just sort of chill with and, you know, drink on up, if you will. And, well, someone who apparently...
Scar and Benji.
Yeah, I was going to say, apparently someone who does not want to do that is going to be Quinn and their teammate in Tiny and Scar and Benji. This kind of makes sense for Scar and Benji. They need a big game in fourth place if they want to try and get into the money.
Yeah, absolutely here. And taking out some of the top contenders in terms of skill set, Quinn and Tiny would be some nice eliminations to work with here. Sadly, just can't quite find those angles. Thankfully for them, though, it's going to be on the other end, Tiny, who finds that first knock and full elimination there onto Benji. So for Scar, might be looking to run away.
Oh, I think they're doing exactly that. They're booking it immediately. The issue is I think that they know where they're going to be getting chased from. Quinn and Tiny are not going to let Scar get away that easily, and there are the shots immediately drained of all of their shields. And Scar, they don't have any builds to work with. They are at the mercy of their opponent. They'll charge on in, and it will not work out. Our fourth place team with an early exit here in round number 6.
Such a shame there, but hey, if you're Bach and Broken, that's a moment where it feels great, right? You're sitting behind potentially one of those top contenders who have been accumulating points passively right through those placements, and now you know for a fact you're surpassing.
That's kind of crazy to think about. No matter what, they're going to guarantee themselves that they will stick into that top 3. It's kind of unfortunate for Quinn and Tiny here. They are having a good game, but they have let too much time drop by. Top 10 has officially arrived, which means that they need to try and take out some of these front runners here and now if they want a shot at top 3.
Here's a problem. Davey and Crest, they've been watching this for quite some time, and they're going to let this one slide by. Have no interest taking a fight right now, and I think that's okay. This is a squad who has built their lead off of being passive and playing for the long haul, so I respect that.
Hey, listen, man, when I first got into Fortnite, we would always, all of my friends, Bush Gang to the T, it would always be making sure to just camp the bush and just play this one as passively as possible. And I get it. You know, it's not necessarily the most encouraged of strategies in the Fortnite professional scene, but at the same time, if it works, it works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And at this point, it is not broken. So Davey and Crest, keep doing you guys. It seems like it's working out.
Instead, Tiny and Quinn, they're going to be running right into Bach and Broken. They actually spot them out fairly quickly here, and as a result, going to jump up right behind. This is a massive split between the two of them here.
Oh my. Milk and Parzik going down in 10th place. We asked for one of our top 3 teams to go down early and make this spicy. Zephyr, that scenario, it has arrived.
That leaves Dom and Zay and Creston Davey to lead the fray here. Got to give credit to Donald Trump and Barack Obama where it's due, but the problem is their journey might be over. Meanwhile, Tiny, Broken, finding the elimination there.
Ooh, Quinn the only one around, but Bach and Broken, if they're going to stay in this game and get a couple of good eliminations, there's a chance that they can prop themselves into the top 3 like we were saying. This is why I love these end games, these final rounds for Battle Royales like Fortnite. It makes it so interesting if you just see a single team drop at the wrong moment.
Ooh, for Quinn there, sensing that not going to be stuck in the midst of the fray, going to look for that escape. Potentially pull back, not even reapproach, just get out of there for now.
Are we going to see that fight continue, though, behind them? You can see a couple of squads battling on the ridge there, and I think it's Bach and Broken that are going to be fighting. That's going to be big if they can find themselves another elimination, further their abilities here, as I think Quinn's just going to dip on out, head over to Shifty Shafts, and they're going to go for the revive. There's no way!
You have to. I mean, has the opportunity, clearly. So, why not?
I just can't believe they're going to be allowed to pull this off. I thought that they would
There's
surely
not
have someone
enough
chase after them.
Nah. I mean, that fight was being contested to begin with, so why not? Problem is, you've got Valk and Capadonna very close by, though.
Ooh, and look who's established themselves a very safe position within the circle. Yeah, Dom and Tracy here, or otherwise known as Zay, is definitely not surprising to see them playing this passively throughout this game. It makes sense. It 1000% makes sense for this team to try and play this one incredibly passively. No way. And really, Creston Davey still in the bush. I mean, again, respect.
There's no reason to waste the resources, to try to play this one out even more aggressively. I mean, we're sitting here, Storm 3. Why do it, right?
I agree. You're not going to hear an argument out of me.
Nature's defense. No big deal. The question is, you know, we haven't focused particularly on Creston Davey through majority of our early games, and we're pointing this out now going into Game 6. I wonder if this has been a prevalent thing throughout the entirety of these games. I wonder if this is how they've been surviving through and through.
I mean, they've done it a couple of times. I remember, who was it? They were right next to, I want to say, Bach and Broken at some point, and just sort of sitting next to them. We do see another team exit out of the lobby, by the way, down to a top 8 here. But yeah, we saw them camping in a bush before, so I'm not too surprised if this has been their strategy the entire time. And again, it goes back to the classic phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if that's how you've been winning thus far, keep doing it.
Well, sadly, Donald Trump, Barack Obama, it was broken quite a long time ago, and it's taken some time to fix it, and it's only looking a little bit better, so they live up to their name.
I want to see something get crazy. There it is. All right. Whoa. I was asking for it. Where would the craziness happen? There it is again. Bach and Broken out in 8th place. Our 5th place team no longer given the chance to try and climb into that top 3. I don't think that they got enough to pass up Milks and Parzik here. And Milks and Parzik, though, the guarantee for them is that they will most likely be taking 3rd place, if not for this team that we're looking at. Again, Quinn and Tiny, if they have a good enough game, there is technically a chance, but it's got to be the game of all games.
The problem I'm seeing right now is we're already sitting down to 7 squads, not even a full 14. You're not accumulating enough eliminations to surpass the limit here. You're definitely going to be pumping up a huge number of points in terms of the overall spread, but I need those eliminations to follow right now.
They basically need to wipe the rest of this lobby and take 1st place if they want a chance at this point here. They need a 40-50 point game if they even want to try and climb through, and it's just not going to. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but the odds are incredibly against them.
Meanwhile, Creston Davey no longer in the bushes, now pressured from all angles. They've made themselves quite the armored fortress here, but for how long will it last? A bit of a splash provided, but they're being shot from all angles.
You can literally hear it just pinging off the armored walls around them. It's like someone throwing a bunch of pots and pans down a stair set. Like, this is insanity. And I think that wall is about to finally break. There it goes. No more armored walls to work with. Creston Davey, they are at their own mercy of how many builds do they have left.
Here's the problem, though. At this point, with this much pressure coming at you, I question if you last through it. It might be just the time to move, because you are taking damage upon damage upon damage. Find the rotation, or else your journey's over.
The only way I see them escaping from this insanity, the absolute onslaught of shots around them, is if they're able to find a third party that interrupts. Because you can literally see on the map, look at the amount of arrows just pointed at them, just waiting for this. They got to hold out 35 seconds. If they can get to where the zone starts moving, there is a chance. Oh, they have a rift!
There, but there's the rift. Okay. Rift finally coming through there. An immediate drop down here for some approach of safety, but it finds their way into the half-and-half storm here, and they will successfully intro themselves to the middle of the tarps.
I cannot believe they walked away from that one. Neither one of the players going down. The worst thing that happens is that Crest has got to heal back on up. Honestly, if that's the worst that they got, they absolutely got lucky. Seriously, man. Well, honestly, this is why they've been our first place players. They know when to take a fight, and they know when they need to dip.
And here's the problem now. What was potentially an understanding for these opposing squads, realizing what might have been there, is completely chaos now. They have no clue. Ooh, Donald Trump trying to take much the same approach there will be punished instead to bring us down to our final 5 squads remaining.
I didn't realize that Cut and Venman were in this one as well. It seems like that team's also going to try to play a little bit of spoiler here. They're currently sitting in 8th place. And again, honestly, you know what would be all too proper for them, but also just all too painful? Imagine if they finish in 6th place yet again. Yesterday, they got 6th and said they wanted to get a little bit higher. In 8th place right now, this far into the circle, or into the game, there's a chance that they re-establish themselves in 6th place. And hey, listen, man, consistency, that's something to be said about that team.
We finally take our first look, though. Tracy and Dom. That's the big one we need to start watching. And they themselves are broken down on the build. That's a huge drop onto Tracy. All you need to do is finish the job onto Dom McFlurry. You can see him already taking storm damage here, trying to rotate far on the long angle as everyone else is trying to clean this one up.
Oh no, but Tracy's officially eliminated. Dom's not going to be able to get that revive off, not with this small of a circle, and that's going to be huge. The fact that Quinn got Tiny back up is the whole reason why they are now in contention at the end of this game. I mean, they've got 9 eliminations. If they finish off the rest of this lobby, there is a chance.
They need to continue to rack this one up. Dom McFlurry is on the upper end here, and that damage that has been provided onto Crest and Davey might be what does them in here as the storm's ticking through. You've got a bit of the chug, you've got a bit of the med mix, but you need to move!
Oh boy, our first place team taken out of this one. The only issue I do see right now for Quinn and Tiny is that they've got the team directly in front of them in Cut and Venman still in this lobby alive. They want to take this one, they need to take that team out next.
That has to go almost immediately here, but the problem is Dom McFlurry also exists as well. If they don't work with that one, they don't have anywhere close to the amount of elimination, but it's still definitely something to pressure. Meanwhile, Quinn and Tiny are officially moving into the fray here. They do have a bit of that high ground advantage. They're going to be controlling the pace of play for now.
Trying to control the pace of play, but Cut's gonna go down. All of a sudden, this could be big. Cut, Tiny and Quinn, the only team with a full squad remaining. They've got the numbers advantage. If they take out every other player, there is a chance, and they're looking to do so. Tiny, a shotgun shot to the back will start off the damage, and they continue on their hunt.
Meanwhile, Dom McFlurry from the low ground is putting pressure where it counts straight onto Quinn. Granted, there's too many builds to work with here, and now he's going to be playing a little bit of the mouse. His time, hold this one out because he just needs to last longer than Venman, but he's the only and the last remaining individual here for Quinn and Tiny to wipe out. This is the win that's been a long time coming, and now they're dropping.
You know, the big thing for Dom McFlurry is they might have secured themselves first place with this outlasting of the other two top 3 teams around. But again, for Tiny and Quinn, there's a chance that they can upset beyond compare. A total of 11 eliminations so far, get a 12th, and that is a over 30-point game to end this one off. Be 37, it could propel them into the money, and can they do it? 1-on-2, Dom against the world, trying to back away. He runs into the storm, just looking to try and escape, and he will not. More shots fire off. They need a single shot, and that will end this one off. He's putting damage in his side, but he can't finish this one. Someone's got to go down, and the answer is Dom will indeed. Tiny and Quinn redeem themselves with a 12 elimination victory royale.
It has been a long time coming for Tiny and Rich Homie Quinn going into today's series. We've saw them perform in a multitude of 2v2s, but we haven't seen a game like that. And we've been, like you said, trying to do the math all game long. 12 eliminations, the win to boot. It might just be enough to at least put them in that top 3, to at least award them some share of that prize pool.
They gotta hope so. They have been playing an uphill battle this entire time. I don't know if it's going to be enough. Again, this is what you and I were talking about at the beginning of the night. The issue for Quinn and for their teammate is that they tried so hard, but they were just too far behind. 26th place off the bat, 11th place off the bat, 18th place off the bat. 3 finishes in a row outside the top 10 may have left them too far behind for them to catch up.
I don't know, and I want it so bad, especially after a game like that. It almost feels like they deserve it, but with what you say, you have to realize that sometimes you don't, right? You can't just show up at the very, very, very end and just say one and done. That's not how it works.
Unfortunately not. Again, consistency continues to wear the crown here, and that crown 1000% will stay on the heads of, in my opinion, someone in that top 3. Zay and Dom had a phenomenal final game, but the issue was they were already behind point-wise in comparison to these other teams. So as we get this leaderboard ready, I can't wait to see the results.
The thing with Dom that's going to be absolutely crucial here is staying alive past Cut and Venman. If that is what separates it in terms of the point spread, I'm going to lose my mind.
Because again, the difference, it's 25 points versus 22. That is a big difference, but it's also 22 versus 20. It's 2 points extra that you get for lasting that far.
We know it was a 2-point difference between our top 3 prior to going into Game 6, so it's more than correct to say that that could have been it.
Zeph, I don't even know what else to say at this point here. I'm just getting ready for this one, and I think that we've got some graphics to show you guys to reveal exactly what we are talking about. Our final game of the night, like we said, it was Quinn and Tiny to take that one home. I believe they got 37 points total, but was it enough to propel them into the top 3?
I was doing my math there as I tried to pull that one out, trying to do the addition, but Rich Homie Quinn and Tiny, definitely a big win to behold there. 12 kills. You have to understand, they killed half the lobby that game.
Yeah, they really did. They did a fantastic job. But here we can show exactly how fantastic they did. 33 total eliminations. Excuse me. Whoa. Oh, this is the winner of it all. This is them.
Whoa!
This is Zay and Dom. They take this one home. 33 elims, 142 points. They outlast Crest and Davey. And that final round truly was the clutch that they needed.
Last to second place with only 1 elimination here. That right there is at least the additional 3 points that could have made a difference, at least in what we saw as a spread. But I gotta know where Crest and Davey finished. I mean, that's absolutely crucial here. Congratulations, of course, to Zay and Dom for their win here. But Crest and Davey, they were so consistent all game long, but it was a 3-point difference. A 3-point difference.
3 single points separated first and second place. Milks and Parzik hold on despite an early exit to their top 3, but it was not enough for them to keep their first place finish. Congratulations to Zay and Dom. You are the best of the West here and the winners of the EsportsU Campus Cuts featuring Fortnite West Championship.
I have to say, I'm still proud as we go down this list. Bach and Broken fighting all night long after a performance like yesterday in our East Finals there. And Tiny and Rich Homie Quinn with an excellent final game, albeit not the best performance throughout the entirety of the series, still put themselves within the top 5, which is at least something to take home.
It's kind of crazy to think this is also the second day in a row where Zay and Dom find themselves in the money. Yesterday, they finished second in East. Today, they finished first in West. They redeem themselves in more ways than one. They not only take a narrow competition, but they do so in quite literally the final game of the night.
Well, let's take a look here and make our way down the listing, see who else tended to maybe potentially peter off here as we look through 11th and 20th. Some of those notable names. Bit of a shame to see Fluger and Jonathan plays as low as 18th, but hey, what can you do?
It is what it is, and unfortunately for these guys, as great of a day as this was, they're going to have to try and run it back another time. It's a really, really fantastic effort from every single player that we had here in this competition. But listen, we know the reality here, Zephyr. Only 3 teams could walk away with the money here today, and those 3 teams are going to be Zay and Dom, Creston Davey, and Milks and Parzik. Congratulations to our winners here in the EsportsU Campus Cup featuring Fortnite.
Yeah, we may have known it coming into that final game as they were these 3 squads leading the pack, but we just didn't know quite how it was going to shape out in terms of who was going to fall where.
And that's exactly what we were hoping for. We were hoping for a game number 6 that threw everything into the air, and the cards, they lie where they may. Again, to those unaware, $3,000 on the line here tonight. Zay and Dom walk away with $1,500. Crest and Davey walk away with $1,000. And Milks and Parzik, well, they still get a little bit of change as well. $500 going to our 3rd place. That's a good chunk of change just for playing a couple of hours of Fortnite. Nothing but props to all of these teams, and nothing but props to everybody who showed up here today.
Yeah, well, if you enjoyed what we put on here at EsportsU, we always appreciate all the support and love here. But I'm sure, Oliver, it's been fantastic to cover this alongside you, and I think you'd say the same.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, man, it's hard. Directions are difficult, especially when we're this far into the night. It's been a pleasure, Zeph, to get back into the booth with you here tonight. If you guys want to give us a little bit more support, our tags are down below. Please feel free to hit us up on Twitter or wherever else that you might find us. And, well, we hope to see you guys here on the channel yet again. Thank you to everybody who tuned in here tonight. We're going to throw it over to our main man, Paulie Hype, to close this one out. We will see you guys next time.
All right, everyone, and welcome back. Thank you so much, Zephyr and Bass from the past. You guys did an amazing job casting, keeping it. You know, I always like to bring it in hype, but you guys just take it to another level, truly understanding that collegiate Fortnite scene. It was amazing to have you guys part of the cast. But that, unfortunately, is going to do it and wrap up day number 2 of the EsportsU Campus Cup featuring Fortnite game. We saw some of the best collegiate esports Fortnite action this game has to offer, and it has been such a pleasure to host and see all the casting and all the collegiate players, schools, and universities that have been represented across the series here, East and West of the Campus Cup. That's going to do it here for EsportsU. My name is Paulie Hype. Thank you so much to production, social media, all of EsportsU, Collegiate Sports Management Group, and, of course, New Street. Collect wisely. And, of course, as well, Fortnite game, thank you for letting us use this game and being a part of the EsportsU Campus Cup. That's going to do it for us here. We'll see you next time at EsportsU. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and have a great and lovely night.